Hi everyone. Yes, well, I'm back again. It has been a little while since I've done a live stream or any kind of actual video. The reason is just typical usual stuff, life and I'm in the process of something concerning basically my quality of life. Hopefully, I need to keep on top of that. I won't go into too much about it because I shouldn't say too much, but something will hope enable me to be able to keep basically living as an independent man with some health issues. I'm on the just in the process of going through it. So yeah, that's been taking up a lot of my time and effort. Right. Well, anyways, I will start. I'm saying we should. Hopefully, it's a bit later than planned as usual, but hopefully, I should be. Hopefully, might be joining us. Our friend 000firestorm. See if we can get a couple of others as well. So just while I'm sending out the link, I think. Well, I went to Poland to see my dad for a couple of weeks. I didn't do as much there. I'm saying just having a nice chilled out time. I'm in a country house. Right in the countryside. Warsaw. So, but we did go to Dresden in Germany for my dad's birthday. It's only a couple of hours away from where he actually lives in Poland, so a couple of hours drive. So we went with his partner. Let's see what we got here. Oh, come on, man. This isn't funny. Yeah. In terms of purchases, what have I purchased? Well, I got in Poland. I got Team Sonic Racing for the Nintendo Switch, which is a really good, very fun, addictive game. Got the Lego Movie 2 Blu-ray, something I wanted, and last Friday I purchased on the day of release after going to see Toy Story 4, which was brilliant. I went and got the Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled remaster for the PS4. So Mm-hmm. Oh, God. It's a pain in the fucking arse. 2 right ears, bloody pain in the arse. 2 right ears, a pain in the fucking arse. So yeah, I'll just wait for a moment. See. Yeah. So yeah, I've been keeping myself occupied with stuff, still looking for work. Yeah. Hello?
Lawrence.
You're right, but mate, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. How are you doing, bud?
Great, how are you? Sorry it's a bit late.
That's alright. I was up.
Yeah, it's alright. We won't do it too long if you don't want.
No worries.
Okay. I'll send the link to Nolsey if he'd like to come on. So how are you?
Not bad. Can't complain. Same old, I guess.
What have you been up to lately? You still working?
Yeah, just work. I'm getting another tattoo on Saturday. So
Oh, right.
getting that done. It's about the most exciting thing happening this week.
Yeah. Are you ready for TF Nation, pretty much, or?
More or less. Just getting the coach sorted, and when I get paid,
Oh, yes,
week
I
after
still need to
next.
do that, actually.
You all ready for it?
Yeah.
Ready to do a TF Nation video. I've got one
No,
planned.
I haven't done any either.
Yeah, I have one. I have one planned. I need to really sort it out.
Are you and John coming up on the coach as usual? Oh, yeah, of course, you just
Yeah,
said
that's
up.
the plan. It normally is.
Yeah. So I heard that Tony might be making his own way up somewhere with his partner.
It might be, yeah. It might be.
So you ready for PonyCon as well, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, ready for that. I need to get a coach ticket sorted for that as well, but
Yeah.
I'm most
That
likely
won't be an
to do
issue
that.
for me. I can get the train.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get a coach, but I'll sort that out at a later date.
Yeah, it's just you and me for PonyCon now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Just you and me, mate.
It's a shame John couldn't come because I know he'd really enjoy it, but
Yeah, it is. Stuff happens, though, unfortunately.
yeah,
So.
life gets in the way.
Aye, it does.
So have you seen Toy Story 4 yet?
Yeah, I saw it at the
I have
weekend.
as well. We went on the first day, I think, on the Friday, me and my family. Me and my mum and sister. I really enjoyed it.
I did. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it myself.
Yeah. Did you go and see Aladdin, or?
I haven't seen Aladdin. It's still in the cinemas, like, but I haven't got around to it yet.
I think The Lion King's out this Friday, isn't it?
No, it's not this Friday. It's 22nd of July. It's out.
Oh, so it's quite a way. I thought it was this month, but oh well. I say the two next things I next want to go and see The Lion King and Spider-Man: Far From Home. See if Carl's around, if he'd like to join us. Yeah. So what have you bought? Have you bought anything new recently?
No, not really. I don't really buy a lot of stuff like during the year. I tend to buy stuff when I go to conventions more. You know, I might buy the odd thing now and then, but I tend to just do it at conventions.
You bought any new games or?
Not recently. I mean, I've got seasons 4, 5, and 6 of MLP. Season 7's on pre-order. That's out in September. Oh, by the way, Lawrence, how are you up to season 9 yet?
No, I started watching season 6 when I was in Poland again, because I didn't get to see all of it. But when I was with my dad, what I might have to do is I'll probably just get on watch cartoons and something and just watch them all the rest on there.
I have a link to a website that has every single episode on there, and it also has season 9, and it gets updated every week.
Yeah, and it's not dodgy in any way.
No. It's perfectly sound, mate. It's something that's actually been set up by the Brony community. Obviously, season 9's on hiatus now. It started. The second half starts 10th of August.
Because it'd be really great for me to finish the series before we go to PonyCon.
Give me a sec. I will post the link up for you now, so you have it. I've got it here. So it's perfectly fun because it's more or less set up by fans for fans.
Are the last 3 seasons, are they all like 21 episode series or?
Oh yeah, they're all 26 episodes.
Because season 3 was only sort of a half series, wasn't it?
Yeah, the reason for that was because originally season 3 was going to be the end. There was only ever going to be 3 seasons. And the reason season 3 was only half the normal length was because Hasbro sort of took the funding, half the funding for season 3, and used it to basically back fund season 4 effectively.
Yeah.
Because originally there wasn't going to be a season 4. So I think some of season 4 may well have originally been season 3. But anyway, there's the link for you.
All right, thanks, mate.
They're all on there, all up to current, what's up to current season 9 as well, so the first 13 episodes, so it's all on there. I say it's perfectly sound, it's safe.
Have you watched all the Equestria Girls stuff?
Nearly. I'm a little bit behind on it. I'm slightly behind on it by a few episodes.
Yeah, I mean, you know that thing I posted the other day, that Rainbow Dash figure set, the Equestria Girls. That was only $5.99 in TK Maxx.
That surprised me. They're always good value at TK Maxx. Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. We're pretty close to the end now, actually. As you know.
Any specific things you might like at TF Nation? Are you looking for anything particular?
Well, I haven't got anything particularly in mind, or I might have 1 or 2 things, but I usually just play it by ear to see what's what. I know they're going to have a much bigger area dedicated to Gundams this year, because the last few years it's just been that one store Gundam Madivad, but apparently they've got like a whole area dedicated towards it now, so there's going to be a lot more Gundams there. I'm hoping they might have a bit of Gundam anime, because I know Gundam Mad sell the box sets, so I'm hoping they might have some there. Wouldn't mind to pick up a few box sets.
I've got one Gundam anime with a box set. I've not had a chance to watch it. I've had it for about over a year now. I bought it in Belgium. That was one of the few anime box sets I was able to find that had the English dub, not like dubbed in Deutsch or French.
Yeah, it's looking up. I mean, I don't know. You might have heard about it. The petition that's sort of going on to try and get a season 10.
Oh, of MLP?
Yeah.
Well, if season 9's been pretty much completed already, how would they be able to continue the story if they put the closing arc in?
No, they won't, mate. They won't. I mean, I know there's the sort of the way it's going. There's a petition.
It would be ideal to end on a 10th season. So I don't get why they're probably not going to do it, because they make plenty of cash out of it, you know, merchandise and all that, as well as the series. Well,
the thing is, in truth, I mean, MLP, to be perfectly honest, as a whole, it's run its course. It effectively sort of reached its end game by, I'd say, by the end of by about season 6. I would say that they'd sort of completed their end game. It's sort of come full circle. Season 9 is finishing off a lot of little tidbits, largely for the fans. But the problem is, after season 9, they basically they haven't got anything to do, because they've more or less, from what I know of what season 9 will be about later on, they've more or less will have finished everything. Keeping it going is pointless. Not to mention, to be perfectly blunt, the Brony fan base isn't what it once was. It's not as big as it used to be. It's still there. It's still got a lot of support. It's still popular, but it's not as big as it used to be. And also,
no, I have noticed it has been said that the fan base has considerably dropped. Well, that's probably partly the reason why a lot of the bigger MLP conventions they're not doing them anymore, are they?
Well, the only big one that's shutting down is BronyCon. But BronyCon sort of had a 4-year heyday where it had big numbers, and then recently, in the last 2 years, it's seen a massive drop. Partly it's due to people going to other conventions that are easier to get to.
Yeah.
And partly it's due to staffing issues. But the thing is, largely, you can't keep a franchise going forever.
No, of course you can't. Of course you can't. I suppose it's better to end. I suppose what would be better to do is to end it while it's kind of still kind of in its peak and it's still popular enough.
Yeah.
Rather than wait for it to tail down.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Gen 4, Friendship is Magic, it was more successful than Hasbro ever dreamed it would be. I mean, when it first got launched, the MLP as a franchise had probably been off the air for probably 15 years. I'd probably say that the last series that aired, I think, was in the early 90s.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the last thing I remember, what I remember, obviously, when my little sister was about 3, and that was 1997 to 1999, they had those little pony toys, those My Little Pony toys for, I think it was Gen 3 at McDonald's with the Happy Meals. And that's the only thing I would remember about it.
Yeah, as I say, the real thing about it is every series does run its course, and
I
think the truth is you can't keep a franchise going forever because you start to run out of story material. Realistically, if you look at especially what's been happening in season 9 up to now, there's not a lot that could be left to be done after season 9. I mean, I don't know what the ending will be, obviously, but
there is another theatrical movie in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's literally in about 2 years. That's 2021. It's literally 2 years, in about 18 months, 2 years time. I don't really know if that's Gen 4 orientated or if it's its own thing. But the main thing is, to a certain extent anyway, it has reached its goal. It's reached its end goal. And it's time to end it and move on. I don't know if you were there, but I had a conversation with Carl about this. A lot of seasons on telly, usually the way it works is usually you'll have your initial trilogy. If it does well enough after the main trilogy, normally the golden rule is that series will not go any further than season 7. Normally by season 7, the series has run its course. Realistically, all that's happened with MLP is it's run its course, and the last 2 seasons and the current final season of season 9 is just finishing up loose ends and tying all the knots on the as of yet completed story arcs. So basically, by the time season 9 finishes, it should more or less have completed all the story arcs that have been set up.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a couple of weeks at a time in between now and October where I can sit and watch it.
It's like anything, mate. You know, it's just naturally the natural progression, really. I mean, I do have, to be frank, I do have some worry actually, because I think some fans have kind of taken it a bit hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's ending, but unfortunately, everything has its end, so to speak.
Yeah, it does, you know.
I think
it's the same thing, I suppose. Say when Star Wars Episode 9's done, what's the future of that franchise going to be? Is there going to be any more?
Oh yeah, there's loads of stuff planned. I mean, you've got like the Mandalorian coming out, which is a Star Wars TV series called The Mandalorian, which is a live action series. I think that's due out end of the year, near the end of the year. They've also confirmed that there's going to be a trilogy coming out in a few years' time. That will be a new film trilogy that will be set during the days of the Old Republic. So it'll be set like something like 1,000 years or so before the original films. I mean, there's plans. I mean, Disney won't kind of abandon Star Wars. It's too much money for them.
Yeah,
they'll make tons and tons of cash off it. I mean, to be honest, the downside is they will milk it until it dies. They will probably kill it at some point. So be prepared for that. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, hell, Disney have also bought 20th Century Fox, so you know that's another big thing under the belt.
Oh my god! Which means like their big franchise is like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they'll be buying a hell of a lot. Will Disney? Really, they're just a massive thing.
Yeah, they are.
I'm wondering what else they might be looking at purchasing in the near future. Don't think a lot of things, but they're certainly very different from. I mean, if there's one thing I miss Disney's golden days. I miss the days when they were doing animated films. You know, proper animated films. I miss that. What can you do? Times change.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's all about CGI now, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, all these live action remakes, and some of them have been pretty good, but I mean, it's obviously they're aimed at a new generation.
But I don't know what the future plans will be for MLP, mate. I mean, a lot of the Gen 5 rumours and stuff and leaks are, I think, not accurate. I think it'll be some time until we really have any solid evidence as to what Gen 5 will be about.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Carl.
Yeah, God Pikachu himself.
What?
All right, Mr. Carl, how are you?
All right, suppose. Bored as fuck, like.
One of them days, is it?
Well, it's been one of them fortnights. It's just literally, it's like, you know, I can't find anything to watch or anything that holds me attention for more than like 30 fucking seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of normal for telly these days, ain't it? There's never anything good.
Well, it's not only telly. It's like YouTube as well.
Yeah.
It's I just it's like I just thought the other day. You know, it's been so long since I can remember having a really, really good laugh at anything. You know, it's like I watch stuff on telly, and I don't. Well, I just sort of turn the telly on and look at it. I don't actually watch it.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know, I go on YouTube and all it is, it's just endless people doing live streams, you know, bitching about each other behind the backs, and you know, people going on about fucking YouTube drama and stuff. You know, people who used to upload really fucking hilarious or informative videos are now just going on about, oh, I'm losing subscribers. Oh, I'm not getting as much money. You know.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people talking about how they're getting like demonetized for various stuff and how they're losing subscribers. Yeah, there has been a lot of that. I'll agree on that. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's it. They've just had another round of adpocalypse because of oh god, what was it? A completely manufactured problem from, I can't remember who it was. Some guy it was caused by, what was it? Stephen Crowder called some guy a lispy queer, and then he's basically, you know, gone the full, I need to milk as much attention out of this as possible, and ended up with God knows how many people's getting the channels removed completely. People getting just, you know, demonetized completely for every video they do. It doesn't matter what it is. And yet more fucking, what they call it, updates to things that you can and can't say on fucking YouTube.
Kind of makes me glad that I'm not some big YouTuber with 10,000 subscribers. I'm so tiny and insignificant in the background.
Yeah. Well, 10,000's no these days.
Very true, yeah. There's
I mean, fucking hell, at one point they were giving out, what is it, them silver YouTube play button things.
Yeah.
They were giving them out like fucking sweets at one point, and that's for, I think it's quarter of a million subscribers.
It used to be. I think you can get them now for about 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I think because there's I think there's like, it goes like, you know, like silver, gold, and then there's like a platinum one or something like that.
It's silver, gold, platinum, and ruby. And the ruby's like, I think there's only like maybe a handful of YouTubers that have got the ruby.
Yeah. I know that they were on about PewDiePie with him, you know, being like the most subscribed to person on YouTube. And but for some reason, every time he put his claim in, because you have to ask for him to send you the play button, not they don't give it you. And every time he put his in, for some reason, it just never turned up.
Well, there's a few YouTubers like that who are owed one, if you will say, and they've never received them.
Yeah.
I think, in a certain sense, YouTube want to distance from certain channels.
Oh yeah, it's all whether you know what they call it. You know, it's all whether you're willing to bend over for him.
Yeah, because I know I don't know a lot about PewDiePie, to be honest, but I do know that a few years ago there was all that drama when he basically did a video where he was taking the piss out of Adolf Hitler. Yeah. And it basically got all the wrong way. People were saying, "Oh, he's a Nazi supporter."
Yeah. What happened is they took some, I think it was the New York Times or something, basically sat and watched through a load of his videos and then clipped out, you know, like loads of little bits, like little sketches he did and stuff like that, taking the piss out of Nazis and stuff. And then they stitched it all together and said, you know, oh, this is proof that PewDiePie is a neo-Nazi. And, you know, then the fun started. Oh, then there was a time when he was playing, was it PUBG? And he was doing a live stream and somebody shot one of his teammates, you know, while they were down. And, you know, I think somebody was going to go and med him or something, and they shot his teammate while he was down and just went like, oh, you fucking nigger, or something like that. Then they were like, oh, further proof that PewDiePie is a white supremacist Nazi or something.
Bloody hell. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've got to give the guy credit. From what I understand, he's never backed down. He's just kept on going.
No. I mean, I'm not particularly much of a fan of his. I mean, bloody hell, I was first introduced to him by his target audience of the time, which was a stupid fucking little girl who only watched him because she watched him. Weren't bothered about, she was supposedly interested in gaming and stuff, but all she did was just watch him so that she could listen to him, like over the top screaming and stuff like that. The sort of thing a 5-year-old's into, kind of thing. And I think I watched I think I made it about halfway through one of his videos, because this was back before he started doing live streaming. And I think I made it about halfway through one of his videos, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this crap?"
Yeah, I know. This is definitely getting us would find entertaining, innit? Kind of. It just makes them laugh.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's since then, obviously, he's gone on to, he's gone on. He's not bothered about attracting the little girls anymore. He's more interested in, the grown-ups who are wanting to have a laugh and stuff like that. Actual mature grown-ups, not adult babies, like what are into all My Little Pony and shit like that. But, yeah. But, it's still like that. I mean, it's when you go through, and it's, it's like on my subs thing for YouTube. I'm subscribed to loads and loads of different things. The people who do comedy, stand-up and, hecklers and fail videos and, like unknown mysteries and crime and stuff like that. And it's literally, you go through and a lot of people, a lot of channels I used to watch, they don't even bother posting videos anymore. Not even on like BitChute or anything like that, because they just can't be bothered.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is, in my case, I don't do. I know for a fact I'm never likely to make a penny out of YouTube, but I do it just because it's something I'd like to do.
Yeah,
I do it just as a way of communicating with people and interacting with people.
Yeah. I mean, I've basically completely given up on my channel. I just can't. I just can't think of any decent ideas to put on there anymore. I mean, I started doing a playthrough of Urban Strike and it got like 3 views. So I'm just like, well, why the fuck should I bother messing about with, setting up the fucking OBS and things like that, because it's a pain in the ass to get it working properly. Set up and then sit through, do the fucking the work, sit and actually play the game, record it, and then nobody can be asked to watch it. It's like, I'm there. Past it. I have ideas for videos all the time, but then it's like, is it actually going to be good when I film it? Probably not. I mean, I had this weird idea the other day. I was gonna do an experiment where I've got some degreaser, and basically when you look at degreaser and shampoo, there's very little difference in the actual ingredients in them.
Yeah.
You've got stuff that makes you smell nice. So I thought, well, this degreaser I've got smells like lemon. So it's like, I wonder what happened if you washed your hair in degreaser. Just to see what happened. And I thought, well, no, what's the point? Somebody might watch it, somebody might find it, thingy, but, end of the day, it means I've got to spend basically the best part of a day doing that.
Yeah, I can get your point.
Just to get like half a dozen people watching it. I mean, fucking hell, one of the most popular videos I've got on my channel is where I did that fucking Charlie game.
Yeah.
Because I still get comments on that even now from people, like, demons aren't real, but angels are. And it's like, obviously you've not read your Bible very well then, have you? You're supposed to, oh God, what were it? Somebody said on it. Oh, you're supposed to not cover the thing because then, like you can allow the forces to move the pens or something. And I said, well, hang on a minute. If it's supposed to be some sort of demon, then why does it not have the supernatural power to just simply move the pens without having to touch them physically or blow on them like, what people do?
I think the highest viewed video I got, I've always sort of been surprised that it's never been taken off YouTube. I did about a year ago. I basically just had an in-depth sort of talk really on YouTube where I was basically just talking about the Madeleine McCann case.
Yeah.
And that video has had almost 900 views. And I still get comments today on that video where people are like just talking about it on the comments. And I kind of sometimes think to myself, you know, it's kind of like videos like that get like the one-off notice that a lot of the time get taken off YouTube.
Yeah.
It's still up though. It's never been taken down.
No, there's still quite a lot of videos out there talking about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the thing is, I make sure when I do my reactions video show, I make sure that the volume of the audio of what I'm watching, make sure it won't be properly picked up, and I also say, just in case, the company that owns the material.
Yeah. Yeah, that don't work because it's what I did. Oh God, what did I do? Oh, I did a sort of playthrough review of Aladdin for Mega Drive, and I still got a copyright claim from fucking Disney. And it's like I'm playing the game, I'm not playing the film or the soundtrack. And it's like, you know, I had the volume turned down, but you can still just hear bits of it. And then when I started singing, I
got a copyright claim because this is a few years ago now, and I've never sussed out why, because it wasn't like I was showing any game footage or film footage or anything. All I was doing, I was just talking about a convention I'd been to. Yet somehow I got copyrighted on it. It's real weird. Yeah,
something. I mean, it's like anytime you do anything with BBC stuff, it's like, you know, they'll put, it's occasionally, I mean, I'm still subscribed to the BBC 3 channel, because sometimes they don't have dropped some right fucking corkers on there.
Yeah,
and you know, basically they're just begging to have the piss taken out of them. And you know, I'll do a video where I'll take the piss out of some off that's been on the BBC, and immediately as soon as it's uploaded, copyright claim from BBC, and it's like, yeah, you still don't quite understand the concept of fair use, do you? It's like, oh yeah, but fair use is an American law. It's like, no, still counts for this country as well. It's we do have a fair use stuff in this country.
Well, yeah, I've noticed recently regarding that matter, Carl. I've noticed recently quite a few people on YouTube have even at the start of the videos have even quoted fair usage laws.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that for ages.
Yeah, to basically try and point out that I'm legally able to do this.
Yeah, they had to do that for ages when people were still abusing the what they call the DMCA thing, because it basically all it ended up being was, somebody, you know, and it started off with the, you know, the arguments with the fucking Bible bashers. You know, they'd put up videos saying ridiculously stupid shit. Somebody would do a video basically pointing out what they were just talking out their arse. And then they'd get either a copyright claim or a DMCA claim against them. Just simply because, like, well, I don't like what you're saying, so therefore I'm getting your video taken down. It's like, yeah, it don't work like that. Yeah, don't work like that, I'm afraid.
No, because no one forces anyone to watch videos on YouTube.
No. Well, this is the thing that I think it was Baring went through. He did a couple of live streams, and people were saying stuff in the chat, you know, like saying fucked up stuff in the chat. But he got his channel taken down because of it. And it's like, if he pointed out, you know, I am not responsible for other people's actions. You know, it's like, I cannot stop people doing things. You know, it's like, it'd take the piss out of somebody, and then you'd have people going over and saying like, oh, you know, found this video through Baring, so, you know, he'd get the blame for it, you know, and then YouTube would be like, you know, sticking on community guideline strikes, and it's like, no, I'm not responsible for what they do.
Well, that would explain why I've not seen anything by Baring in a while, because I used to follow him quite a lot.
Yeah, Baring is he's put a couple of videos up over the past few weeks, but he seems to have dropped off a bit, because I know in one of the videos he said like, oh, him and Sugar Tits got married, and they've moved somewhere else. They've moved from where they were living. But I can't. It just seemed to have dropped off. I mean, Sugar Tits haven't done a video for fucking time. you know. But
yeah.
It's one of them things. It's people are starting to drop off, but then again, that always happens. It's like I said, when I first, started, proper subbing to people on YouTube and watching things, there were loads of people that were uploading stuff, and then they just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, until about 4 years ago, I first found YouTube in June, July 2006. I never even had an account for years. I just used to watch videos on it.
Yeah.
Until I discovered, because at first I found it to watch old TV episodes and stuff, and old and different music videos and stuff, because they didn't have the issues with copyright back then that they seem to have now. You could find anything on there.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
And the only time things would get taken down is if the users themselves took the videos down.
Yeah.
And that's how and that's how I did. But when I started, videos kind of like what we're doing, just like, us talking to the camera about stuff. This could be something I could get into.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's like, there used to be, back in the days when, the big YouTube scene was, was the atheist thing. And there was a guy called DPR Jones, and he was really good, because he was, as well as being really, really knowing what he's talking about on that particular subject. He's also a solicitor. So it's when anybody started trying to threaten him with, like legal action, stuff like that, it'd be like, all right, well, you take me to court if you want. It's like, I'll just have the case thrown out.
Yeah. As I say, I remember how I discovered your channel, Carl's. I think when you started YouTube, you did those videos on Tokusatsu series.
Yeah.
That's how I discovered you, because I remember I was looking for videos on those other shows at the time, like Power Rangers, like VR Troopers, Beetleborgs, and all that. I thought, there's another English bloke that remembers them. Let's take a look.
Yeah. Well, it's just people disappear off the face of the fucking earth after so long. I mean, it's like, take the thing that sort of got me started with actually making YouTube video, Transformers reviews.
Yeah.
They're pretty much dead now.
Basically, they don't exist anymore. It's because I think with the failure of the last few films, and people are just bored of Transformers.
Yeah, before I go to TF Nation, I must watch Bumblebee. I've got the Blu-ray. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
I still haven't seen that yet. But it's like the. Oh god, what film was it that came before Bumblebee came out?
Last night.
Last night.
Something. Yeah, I mean that was, well, I think I watched that. I can't remember. I might have blanked it out of my memory, but I know it universally panned. And then the one before it was crap. The one that supposedly had the Dinobots in it for 2 minutes.
I think the first two, both of them were very good.
The first one was decidedly average. Revenge of the Fallen was, it was all right. And Dark of the Moon was just like, what? I don't get it. You've cut a lot out of it, and you can even see in the film where they've like really badly edited it. But then he's like, Transformers: Age of Extinction was fucking crap, and Last Night was shit. And it's like,
I mean, I remember going with a friend because it was kind of the live action films that kind of slowly got me into the franchise. I remember back in 2007, I'd seen 2 films in one day. I went to see the Simpsons movie in the morning, then going to watch Transformers because my friend wanted to see it in the afternoon. Yeah. And it's kind of good. I mean, the only thing I really remembered as a kid was Beast Wars, because that was the show that was on Fox.
This is the thing as well. I mean, it's like, when I sort of got started actually making videos on YouTube, you had, as well as the films, you had, first it was Transformers Animated, and then you had Transformers Prime.
Yeah.
And then both those series were fucking great. But what have we had since then? We had Robots in Disguise, which was shit. And now, what is it?
Well, actually, no, what I said isn't completely true. In 2006, I was told about the original animated movie by a friend, and I'd never seen it. And Woolworths had DVD copies of it for like $1.99. And he said, so I went and bought a copy of it, and I watched it. And now that is like one of my all-time favourite animated films.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. But that's what I say. It's just over time, the whole kind of Transformers reviewing thing's gone. You don't really see much by way of, you know, like toy review things anymore.
No.
No, I think from a toy review perspective, I believe Zolt Rider's one of the few still doing it.
I've no idea.
There's maybe less than 4 or 5 people still doing it.
Yeah, I've no idea about who does. I know I see it occasionally, you know, a couple of people that I know will put a Transformers review up. But it's just like, you know, I just see it and I'm like, I'm not fussed. You know, and I know I was looking around and there was some of the older, you know, that had like sponsorships from shops, you know, way back when. You know, they were like, oh, you know, this video brought to you by, you know, Big Bad Toy Store or TF Source. Yeah. And the problem with those is you could never, ever expect an honest review from them because they'll basically having to say, yeah, I got given this by whatever to review. Oh, it's fucking hard. Jesus, throw everything else out because this is the best fucking thing ever. You know, like that. And so it's like, well, I'm not really bothered about watching them because if I wanted to see somebody get bent over and fucked up the arse, I'd just go on like YouPorn or something. You know, I mean, there used to be a guy I watched, I can't remember, something like, was it Nerf Dracula or something like that it was called, and he used to do reviews of, you know, like both Nerf guns and airsoft and stuff like that, and even though he did get sent, you know, like Nerf guns and things from Hasbro, you know, they used to send him a box full of stuff every so often to review. He always said there, he says, I'm not going to, he says, I always do honest reviews. He says, and he says, I get companies, you know, like wanting to send me stuff like that, you know, like, you know, BB guns and pellet guns and stuff like that. And all the other things that turned up that were like Nerf, but not, you know,
like rip-offs.
Yeah, and he said there, he says, you know, he says, I get offered, you know, shops or even companies offered to send me things. And, you know, he says, yeah, all right, but I'm going to do an honest review on them. He said, I'm not going to...
Yeah,
I'm not
I mean...
going to say... Yeah, I mean,
like
there's some sentence
stuff. Nerf did... They had, like, the Super Soakers, the, and the torpedo things.
Yeah, I mean, he got sent some sort... I think it was Mattel or something, did this thing where... they were like Nerf guns, but instead of just having, you know, like foam darts that fired and, you know, bounced off things, or if you had one with a sucker on end, it might stick to it. There's some of these things, and it had like a sticky tip on, and you could just fire them, but they'd only stick to. You had like these targets made out of this sort of special sort of cardboard or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think they did some Halo toys in the range, you know, like they did a Needler, or not Needler, the Needler, the pink thing, the thing that has the pink crystals poking out the top. Yeah, it's Needler. They did one of them and stuff like that, and he got sent them, and it was just like half at time, you know, the darts won't stick to, you know, what it is you're shooting them at. You know, the toys don't feel, you know, like Nerf guns are quite heavy and chunky. But it says these ones, they don't feel, you know, like you could run around outside or whatever shooting at people with them because it feels like they might break and things like that. You know, and I think that was the first and only box they got sent of that particular product. And I can remember seeing the things on sale in places like Home Bargain for a couple of quid because it was like the crap. You know, and he was honest enough to say they were crap. But I've seen a few other channels that, you know, that used to do tutorials and they were getting them and oh yeah, these are fucking ace, these, you know, oh, it's cheaper than airsoft and oh, it's much better quality than Nerf and, you know, all stuff like that. And it's no, the worm.
Well, I mean, it's never been any different. I mean, you know, speaking of reviews and things, I know pretty much I'd say 99% of the people that, for example, go to TFN every year. A lot of them obviously started out doing Transformers reviews, but they probably haven't done any in 4 or 5 years.
No.
Yeah, it's generally stopped.
Yeah, it's
stopped. The thing is, like with TF Nation as a convention is, as we say, I mean, you don't have to be an avid Transformers fan to have
not at all. No.
It's a gathering, it's fun, and you know, we all know each other if we go there. It's fun to go there. because it's just what's always fun about it for me is I'm just around a bunch of very nice people who are into the same stuff that I am, and we can pretty much do what we want when we want. It's like an escape from life.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's. I've heard some rumblings about stuff that's going off related to TFN. That people aren't, not TFN itself. It's just things that are going off between people that are going to TFN, and quite a few people have said that they might make this year the last one because there's some. Yeah, it's got. I think it's now got to the point where the TFN, from what I understand, there's a few things that they've put in this year's, sort of rules and guidelines book that are a bit, get woke, go broke sort of thing.
Yeah.
First I've heard of it. Although I will be honest and say that next year will be my 10th year of the convention. Not TFN, because TFN's only about 5 years old, but assembly before that. But next year will be my 10th year, which I want to do. After that, I'm generally thinking about giving it a miss the year after, not doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's, they go on about community, and it's one of the kind of general impressions I've got from the so-called community is it has gone much more towards the get woke, go broke.
I would be more than happy to discuss the subject, but not while we're live.
Oh, no.
All right, guys, you just talk about amongst yourselves for a minute. I'm going to need to go to the loo because nature's calling, and I also need a fag as well.
Okay, mate.
Yeah. In other words, he's going for a massive shit.
Well, Carl, I will happily discuss the subject of the...
Oh, yeah, well, that's the problem with talking about that. We can't discuss it without naming names. And if there's some certain names that if I name them, it'll cause a hell of a lot of reeing that I just cannot be bothered with. Although the people who would re at me, I will be able to destroy them very quickly.
Well, I'll be honest. I think I know what you're on about because I've
destroyed. I not only destroyed one of them once. I destroyed them, buried them, dug them up, teabagged them, destroyed them again.
Yeah, I know which person you're talking about. Aware of that person. We could always discuss the complete and total destruction of Anita Zakenzian.
Well, I'm going to say that happened years ago, by her own hand.
Oh, yeah, totally. You're finally caught up with that.
Self-destruct. Yeah. I still find it amusing. It's when... I mean, I'm not subscribed to her on YouTube anymore. I was at one point just to see the absolute fucking dumpster fire that, that it's become. I mean, she went from doing all these, like, high-class videos that... that made her famous, kind of. Well, I say high class, they weren't. It's fucking. Even during the days when all I used was my webcam on my laptop, I think I had a higher production budget than what she had. But then it's when it gets to the end, and you've now got this show that she does where it's her, a very, very, very bad trans woman, and I don't know, it's a black woman or something like that. And the mouths move, and it's a shame that they're not near a field, because all of the manure spewing out of their mouths would fertilize that field for decades.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard in the last few days, her channel
just
like
kind of segueing
subscribers.
Yeah, just kind of tangenting and segueing. Were you aware that Lindsay from Queer Kids Stuff has given a TED Talk?
No, I did not know that.
Well, I'm still subscribed to Queer Kids Stuff because I haven't unsubbed from it yet. After I decided I might not bother making any more YouTube videos, and this one popped up today, and it goes it goes Queer Kids Stuff, and it goes, I did a TED Talk, and I'm like, oh, I must watch this, because if it's the full TED Talk, it's only the video's only about 10 minutes long. I thought, if this is the full TED Talk, it's not a proper TED Talk, because if it's only 10 minutes long, it's a TEDx. And TED Talks are usually reserved for people who actually have a point that can be verified and debated. TEDx Talks is where they put all the fringe shit, where it's like literally this person's talking bollocks, you know, but we have to include them, you know, in order to, you know, in order to appear like we're listening, kind of thing.
I didn't even know that was still going on.
I'm going to watch it later. Yeah, I'm going to watch it later, and if it's got some corkers in it, it's getting the piss taken out of it.
Well, if it does, I look forward to seeing your response.
Yeah, because it's like I say, I mean, I've watched some of these TEDx talks in the past, and it's like, fuck me ragged. Who thought it would be a good idea to let these cunts fucking speak? I mean, there was, oh God, what was it? There was,
normally flat earthers or anti-vaxxers.
No, not on TEDx. TEDx, to give them credit, TEDx, even though it has a very, very low standard of, you know, academic, what's the word? Peer review. I think that they would use the term academic peer review. It has a very low standard for that, but they have yet to allow flat earthers and shit like that on, because quite frankly, I don't think there's nobody anywhere that does any kind of academic stuff like that, that takes them seriously enough to give them a platform like that. Because the TED Talks are, you know, if you get a TED Talk, you're doing something right. If you can get a TEDx talk, you're doing something right, but you're still a bit of a dickhead. So if you can't get a TEDx talk and you know you've gathered all this stuff together to prove whatever it is that you're thinking, and you can't get a TEDx talk, you know. Anyway, there's going to be a TEDx talk in Doncaster apparently at the theatre that they've, you know, got here, Cast or whatever it's called. And one of the lads I know said he might go and see it. I says, yeah. I says, just be careful though, you know, because it's not a TED talk, it's TEDx. And he's like, well, what's the difference? So when TEDx is usually where you get told that pink unicorns will save humanity and things like that.
So is it largely like conspiracy theorists?
No, TEDx. It's usually the kind of shit peddled by Anita Sarkeesian and
oh right, I get it, yeah.
It's all like stuff
so
like
SJW
that.
Stuff.
Yeah, basically, you know, like fat acceptance and fat acceptance, healthy at any size, and you know, fucking queer theory, and you know, pointing out mistakes in language that prove the patriarchy exists, because language is structured around, you know, like demonizing women and things like that. There's some rare ones. If you look on YouTube and just type in TEDx talk, there's loads of stuff there. And the weird thing is, there's one of the groups I used to like, Army of Lovers. There's a guy in Army of Lovers who is packed in music, and he says he wants to concentrate more on his philosophical career, because he's now decided he's a philosopher. And he did a TEDx talk, and it's just literally, it's like this guy who was, you know, you'd see him in music videos and he'd be singing away and, you know, doing a good job writing and singing and things. Now he's delivering talks on shit, and it's just like, all right, mate, whatever. You know, you get on, you crack on with what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. So that was a slight segue, but yeah. I think the kind of the star is kind of fading for those people that, you know, like Sarkeesian and things like that. I mean, Milo Stewart's disappeared off the face of the earth completely. I think she's grown up a little bit. I actually did find her YouTube channel. It's still going, but now it's more about you know, she's still doing that "I'm totally a boy" thing.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean. That's
yeah, and she's shoveled. I think at this point she's filled herself up with that much, you know, that much hormone replacement therapy stuff, that I don't think she's got much of a choice but to carry on down that path. I mean, she's living living with another woman. So yeah, I don't know what's going off there. I mean, obviously, you know, she's in a lesbian relationship, but you know, I'm totally a boy. No, you've still got a cow knuckle. No, not cow, moose knuckle. You haven't got a twig and berries yet. You know.
I don't know. Speaking of that subject, I can't remember the name, but a few months ago or so, I came across a video where somebody was basically sort of pointing out a load of flaws in this other YouTuber video. From what I remember, it's effectively about this this bloke who he sort of identifies as a woman, but hasn't had any, you know, hormone treatments or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's in a relationship with another woman and claims it's a lesbian relationship.
Oh no, that's fucking what they call it. That's what's him that makes me puke every time I see him? Justin Dennis.
Yes. Yeah.
He or Riley Dennis, as he likes to be called now, because I am not convinced whatsoever that he is genuinely a genuine transsexual. He is a transgender, and he's had operations, you know, like what is it, like facial feminization surgery and stuff like that. But I don't think he's ever going to go the full thing, because I think in the back of his mind, he basically knows he's kind of started down a path which he either has to make himself look silly and say, no, I don't want to do that, or he has to continue all the way to the end of the path, go through with the operation, and he won't be happy about it. It's like, well, basically you've just neutered yourself for the sake of saving face on YouTube. It's one of those things.
There's some weird. I don't know if I know there are some weird people on YouTube. There's some very bizarre people.
Yeah.
I mean, does that? To be frank, I never did suss out if she was a troll or genuine. But that kind of crazy woman who randomly accused strangers of sexually harassing her and following her. Like, she at one point accused her postman of following her.
I don't know. I know what you're on about, but I don't know who that is. I think the postman one shows up every so often in, you know, like feminist fail compilations and things like that.
Yeah, correctly, I think she's the same person that was walking around a car park and claiming that traffic cones were a sign of misogyny.
Yeah, the what they're called, yeah, that was a There's two videos. There's that one where she's going after the postman, and the car park one. I can't remember what the other one was. There was another one where basically she was just shouting at random people in the street, you know, like accusing them of gawking at her or something like that. I would pretty much suspect that is a troll, because I refuse to believe that there is somebody who is that stupid. I've been wrong before when I've said, you know, that's an obvious troll, because there are some people who are that stupid. Yeah, but I don't know what she's called. I know what you're talking about there. Yeah. The fuck?
That was me.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the other things I've noticed as well with YouTube is a lot of the, you know, the compilation channel things have disappeared. There was one guy, oh god, what's it called? Can't remember what his channel's called. I just cannot remember it off the top of my head. And he just did compilation videos of, you know, like sort of, you know, fucking social justice warriors and public freakouts and stuff like that. And then he stopped doing videos for a bit, and then he started again. But he started doing videos where, rather than just doing a voiceover, he was actually appeared on camera himself. And he said, I've had to do this because YouTube brought in some rules saying that you're not allowed to use, you're not just allowed to put up videos just of compilations anymore. You have to have them like broke up or something. You're not allowed to be anonymous with it. And he did about 2-3 dozen videos in that format, you know, where he appeared on screen and it was just like sat and he say, "Oh, our next video is whatever." And then he the other week he put one up and he just went, he just says, "Well," he says, "I'm still seeing compilation videos pop up where people aren't appearing on camera." He says, and you know, YouTube actually emailed him directly to say that this is what you got to do because you're basically an anonymous compilation channel. And he says nobody else has done it. He says, so why the fuck should I? You know, like that. And then he said there, it's the problem with the compilations thing is they're just dying off because there's not enough material for them anymore. I mean, the guy there, was it was like Wrecked Feminist Videos or something it was called. Then he said, "Oh, I'm shutting this channel down." He says, "I've started a new one where I'm going to be doing you know, compilations and stuff." It says not just about feminists but other stuff. So subscribe to that. And all he's doing is he's taking like 10-year-old episodes of what was that TV series where they were following like people at work EasyJet around, like Come Fly With Me or something like that.
Oh, bloody hell! Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I know the one
like that, yeah, and he's just taking 10-year-old, still with fucking, you know, Sky, is it Sky Living or Sky 3 or whatever it is, logo up at top corner, and he's just doing that and then going like, "Oh, and here we've got some passengers getting pissed off because the flight's late," and you know, and it's just like, yeah, but this isn't really the kind of freak out compilation thing, you know. It's like it's not necessary for you to do a voiceover because, you know, like Sky or ITV or whoever it was that made the series, they've already done that for you, you know. So yeah, and it's just like I just went unsub.
I don't. To be frank, I'm sort of taking this with a bit of a pinch of salt, but I watched a video earlier today that basically claimed to be showing secret camera footage of sort of Google employers. And effectively, it was sort of showing that these employees of Google were kind of claiming that Google have an AI algorithm that's sort of responsible for the SJW rise.
It might be, actually. It can be. I know there was a thing, and it was on BBC, and it was about, you know, like during the last American election, and it said there about one of the problems with that is that you know, those who were like, you know, fucking Hillary supporters or whatever were absolutely convinced that, you know, that nobody was able to rebuke any of their points or stuff like that, and that Hillary was definitely going to win because they were using, you know, like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter to get their points across. And the way that the system's set up is that it connects people who are of a like mind.
Yeah.
So you will not, essentially, if you're not friends with somebody who has a bit of a different opinion to you, all you will see coming from your Facebook and your YouTube and your Twitter is people just agreeing with you on everything that you say. You'll never see anybody say, "Well, no, that's not right," or all that. And that's what a lot of them did. And then it's like occasionally when they did come across, you know, they might come across like one person that said something different to them. And then, you know, they'd like mouth off at this person. And then the person had put back a reply, you know, going through point by point. But they'd never see it because Twitter or whatever wouldn't show them the reply. You know, because it's not in the group of interests sort of thing. And it said there, that's why a lot of them couldn't understand why that things didn't work out how they thought they were going to do, because they'd shut themselves in this little echo chamber. And because they were there, partially by choice, partially due to the way that the, you know, like the algorithms and stuff work on social media. And that's what I said, when their little bubble got burst, they just couldn't fucking understand it. You know, it's like, well, every time I've switched computer on and looked at, or we got my phone and looked at Twitter or something, there's nothing like this on here, you know. There's nothing like this. Everybody's talking about Hillary and everybody's talking about, you know, fucking AOC and whatnot. And they don't understand it, why stuff like this is happening. because they don't know how things work, basically.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It was kind of interesting because part of it was basically talking about how Google, one of the algorithms Google are using currently, effectively creates what can be described as a diversity within search results. It's kind of creepy how easy it is to prove it, because if you just simply go onto like Google Images and type in CEO, you'll get a mixed image result of like black men, women, white men, Asian men, all that kind of stuff. If you go on to say Yahoo Images and type in CEO, it's just pictures of male CEOs. And I can't help but wonder if there really is something to it that, Google are to an extent manipulating their own search results.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you look at Facebook, like if you upload a picture to Facebook, sometimes before the picture pops up, before the picture like pops up on your wall, what you'll see is the box where the picture's going to appear, and it'll say something like, whatever the picture name is, JPEG, and then it'll say contains, and it goes I think it's either says contains or may contain, something like that, and then it's got little tags, and it's like, I haven't put those tags on there, but Facebook's, like thing, whatever it is, just put them on, like it'll say person smiling, trees, water, dog, things like that. And sometimes when I've uploaded pictures and I've noticed, and it's put tags on there of things that aren't in the picture and not even remotely anything to do with the picture, but it'll say, contains, whatever. And it's a bit like, when you get them cameras that like scan for faces. Yeah. It's sort of like an adaptation of that. Like on Facebook, you upload a picture and it's got like a group of people on it. And it'll put, it'll put the boxes on the faces for you to tag the people. And it's sort of like an adaptation of that technology where it looks for patterns. It knows what a dog looks like. It knows when it looks at a face, it can see like whether you're white or black or whatever. So it can add that tag to it, black person, black man, black woman, things like that, or whatever terminology they use. And it's not a stretch to figure out. It's not a stretch for somebody like Google to have done that as well. To put in, like forced diversity kind of thing. I don't particularly see anything wrong with that. Like if you type in CEO and it brings up, men, women, black, white, Chinese, whatever. I don't really see a problem with that. I'd see a problem with it if I was searching for a picture of a particular person who was a CEO. And like I typed in, say I typed in Richard Branson, CEO, Virgin, and it brought up like pictures of fucking Morgan Freeman and stuff like that. Susan Wojcicki. It's like, they've got nothing to do with Richard Branson, CEO, Virgin. Why am I seeing that? That would be, well, your search engine's crap, mate, sort of thing, But yeah, it is worrying where mind you, it's like they said, they show you what they want you to see, not what you want to see, what they want you to see.
Well, yeah, as I said, that's basically what they were saying. These these Google employees that were kind of being obviously watched by some undercover reporter. That's basically what they were saying, as you said. They were more or less admitting that there are people high up in the chain that are, to an extent anyway, manipulating what you can see in the search result.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing it or not. I mean, it's like with the adverts thing. I mean, it's like I said there. It was weird on Facebook a couple of months ago. It's as well. I don't know if you saw. A friend of mine had been in hospital for 2 weeks, and I didn't know anything about it until I was going to go send her a message just to see how she was getting on, sort of thing. And I went to her profile just so I could click on message, and I just seen about 2 or 3 posts that she put on over the past, couple of weeks while she's been in hospital, saying like how she is in hospital. I didn't even know she was in hospital because for some strange reason Facebook decided that I didn't need to see that. But it was quite happy showing me adverts for, like new bathrooms and carpets and, and it's like I'm noticing more and more adverts coming up on my newsfeed, more and more. And also I'm noticing that I'm getting more and more old posts, you know, stuff that people posted like 3-4 days ago, showing up before stuff that they've posted today.
Yeah, I'm getting that a lot. Old posts.
adverts and old posts, and then you know, it's stuff pops up, and it's always the same people. Only shows me stuff by certain people, and it's just like, well, why is it not showing me things that this person posted today? But if I go onto their, you know, if I make a point of going onto their profile to have a look, see if they post anything today, it'll be there right at the top. But why can't you show me that in my newsfeed like you're supposed to, or me, you know, me whatever feed it is like you're supposed to, instead of just showing me adverts for carpet stuff, which I keep clicking, advert not relevant to me. No, I'm not interested in bathrooms. No, I don't want a new kitchen. No, I don't want to take out a loan. You know, things like that.
Yeah, to an extent as well. I mean, speaking of algorithms, I think that's what's part of the problem with YouTube these days. There's an algorithm on there that's sort of becoming a problem.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's all become about algorithms now. You know, it's like all the big people on YouTube and the up and comers and things like that. They spend a hell of a lot of time trying to figure out how to crack the algorithm. You know, at one point it was you had to make videos that were short and to the point. You know, preferably less than 10 minutes. You know, no waffle, no discussion, no background, context, things like that. Then it shifted to the wanted videos that were longer than 10, between 10 minutes and half an hour. You know, supposedly to promote discussion, but when people actually did start discussing stuff, they changed the algorithm again to take it, you know, back down to the 10-minute mark, you know, sort of thing. It's like there's a few people who are watching this. I think the algorithm at the minute is something like videos need to be around about the 10-minute mark in order to be, you know, algorithm compliant. You also noticed a lot of people have started either censoring themselves, you know, like whereas you'd watch videos and they'd quite happily say, you know, things, you know, swearing or talk about, you know, like rape or drugs or stuff like that. They censor themselves now, you know. They won't talk about rape. They'll call it something else, you know, or like give it, you know, baby talk name sort of thing, because they've got a thing that can pick up on what you're actually, the words that you're speaking. You know, now they've got a thing that can actually figure out, you know, if you're talking in a video, you know, swearing, you know, any swearing, any kind of adult discussion, anything like that, immediate demonetization. Any talk about religion, well, a particular religion.
Yeah, we all know what that one is.
Yeah, portraying it in a non too flattering manner. That's either instant demonetization or getting the video removed. And there was a thing the other day, Chew on Head did a video about something, and it wasn't a video taking the piss out of anything either. She was actually complimenting somebody on something, but she managed to say the right combination of words in order to get the video taken down, which she then had to go and, you know, she then did a thing where she's like, you know, this video isn't what you're saying it is. You know, you can quite clearly see, review it manually instead of letting the robot do all the work. And it got put back up. That's the thing. It's a lot of your social media related stuff now. It's the first mistake you can make is thinking that it's actually a person doing it, when 9 times out of 10 it's not.
It's the system.
Yeah, it's the system. Yeah. It's been told to look out for certain combinations of words, certain phrases, certain imagery as well. You know, obviously, you know, it can look at what's in your videos or in your pictures or whatever. I mean, it's like, say you go on Facebook now, and if you mention Tommy Robinson at all, boop, gone, because you're a hate agent. And that is the actual term that they use. If you go on there and you have any kind of discussion about Tommy Robinson or UKIP, anything like that, or you don't show support for certain organisations, you're classed as what they call a hate agent, which means you're not, you know, like you're not a kind of a leader of a movement.
You're basically promoting it.
Yeah, you're promoting hate in some passion.
Kind of gives me a random ideas of what would happen if you put a video up, just simply titled it Tommy Robinson, and it was 2 minutes of you just saying Tommy Robinson over and over again. I kind of wonder what would happen.
It wouldn't even fucking. I'd probably upload it, and I bet you it wouldn't even go fucking live. Especially on Facebook. On YouTube, I would get away with it. I just sat there for 10 minutes just saying Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson. I would get away with it. It's like if my channel was monetized, it'd probably say no, it's not suitable. You know, the robot would pick it up and go like, no, it's not suitable. And then I'd say, well, review it. And then if a person actually bothered to sit and watch it, they'd just go like, fuck's this. You know?
Yeah.
It's not something that we would monetize anyway because it's a pointless video. You know, I mean, one of the things that people do forget is as well is that YouTube is a business. You know, they're wanting to make money, and at the moment, YouTube is losing money hand over fist, which is why all they need is just a little excuse to demonetize people, because they're still getting money coming in from advertisers, but they don't particularly want to share it because they're not making as much money as what they need to. So if they can find any excuse to not share money with the people who are actually making the content to go on their platform,
they'll do it.
And they'll do it. Yeah, they'll do it. It's one of those things. It's both an economic decision and the whole kind of Silicon Valley. We're so woke. Yeah, well, the Silicon Valley idiocy, which is what it is. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing there. You take the kind of libertarian thought process on it and say, well, they are an independent business, so therefore they should be allowed to do what they want with their resources. Which, fair enough. But it's like, don't encourage people to come onto your site, and then because they say things that you don't like, then try and make out that they're something else, or allow other people to take advantage of that. If it was, if they were truly, like, well, we'll do what we want with them, then they wouldn't let people upload, just random shit on there. But they like the random shit, because sometimes it goes viral. Yeah. And, somebody with 50 subscribers puts a video up that goes viral, and within days that video's got like 10 million views. That could be worth a couple of million to them, in ad revenue. So they'll quite happily allow the random shit on there, but woe betide you if you mention something that doesn't agree with the kind of fucking Silicon Valley politics. You could go the other way as well, the communist way, and go, well, anything that expresses any kind of opinion shouldn't be allowed either. And it's like, well, that means then that all YouTube becomes is cat videos and music videos. Yeah. So unless you're praising YouTube. I mean, it's like, once I remember there was a meeting at a place where my mum used to work, and they'd sent out forms for you to fill in if you wanted to ask the board of directors any questions. And my mum's like, why are they doing that? Why won't they just, let people put their hand up and ask questions? Says, well, it's because they don't want you asking questions that the board of directors won't like. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because they don't want you to stick your hand up and go, oh, hi there, I've worked for this company for like 5 years. I keep getting passed over for promotion. And, like Vodafone that's down the road is paying, twice as much as what we get paid here. What are you going to do about it? Because A, they probably won't know much about it. And 2, you're slagging them off.
Yeah.
Most
people don't like being slagged off to the face,
But I get where you're coming from. You never want to ask a serious question to the man in charge.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's like after a I've been to a meeting, she come back and she says, all the questions they asked were basically just, fucking kissing arse. You know, like, oh, it's great that you give us such good opportunities here. And my mum's like, when? Because at that point, she actually had been, you know, she had been working there for a long time. And she kept applying for, you know, like promotion, you know, the next step up the ladder sort of thing. And she kept getting passed over in favour of, you know, like kids that had just come out of college and stuff like that. They've got no experience doing job, but they give them a job, pay them more than what my man was on. And then they just
same thing kind of when I worked for Employ at the head office, and we used to have to do a monthly conference call with the company's boss. And people all over, you know, all the branches, everyone all over the country is basically listening. All the employees of the company basically listening. That they used to ask certain questions about future contracts for when the company goes through changes.
Yeah.
I think what we had to do was we had to before it would be allowed live on the conference call, we had to basically say the question we wanted to ask.
Yeah.
To our manager. Before we were allowed to, before we were allowed to say it to the
and I mean you can understand them doing that, you know, basically vetting the questions, because in some cases it can be questions that are completely irrelevant. You know, it's like, oh well, at our branch we used to get chocolate hobnobs and now we've only got digestive biscuits. It's like, well, what the fuck's that got to do with fucking board of directors? You know, or things like, you know, stuff like that, or like, you know, it's like just say like irrelevant questions, or, you know, if you want to ask a question where you're basically ripping into them, they're not going to let you ask that, you know. But if you ask a question that is a legitimate question based around, you know, what you perceive as poor treatment to workers and stuff like that, you should be able to ask it.
Yeah.
You should be able to ask it, and if the, you know, what they call it, if it's a difficult question to answer, they'll sometimes cut those out, because obviously, you know, they don't carry massive folders around with them with all the data and stuff like that. You know, I can understand sometimes, but if you do have a legitimate question like that and you ask it and they, you know, say, oh, I don't know, but I'll get back to you on that, you know, that's a sign of a good boss. You won't find many of them these days.
The question is, though, do they, even though they say they'll get back to you, do they always? And
sometimes, yeah. I mean, I know that when I worked at Reed, you know, that I've like the person who was in charge of that particular part of the company would come through, you know, and see us once every so often. And if we had any questions, you know, like could either email them to her or ask her when she came. And she would answer your questions, but the answer that you got wasn't always the answer that you were expecting. You know, the kind of, like, they're giving you an answer.
Not the actual answer to your question.
Yeah, not the actual answer to your question, but they're providing you with an answer.
Yes.
But they're not actually directly answering the question that you asked. You know, it's sort of like, I mean, it's one of the things, I mean, I noticed that Reed when she come down once and she gave us all a talk, and she guaranteed us all that, you know, that there'd be, you know, there'd be work. There was about 5 years worth of work there, and they were going to take approximately half of us and promote us to the next stage up, at which we'd get paid more, stuff like that. And I asked the question, are you willing to put that in writing? And that question didn't get answered. Do you know why? Because if it had gone in writing, they'd have had to do it.
They're legally bound to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. You said when I worked in an office and I had to answer phones or make outgoing calls.
Yeah.
And obviously I have a list of questions particularly for people who want to be the candidates who want to be referred to the company.
Mm.
And because obviously I have to probably ask the same question 90 to 100 times a day, depending on the amount of calls you can make.
Yeah.
And but obviously, if they don't completely understand the question, normally if they don't understand it the first time, they'll say it and then get you to explain it again in a bit more in detail that suits them.
Yeah.
But in cases, sometimes they'll, you know, and when I've asked them a question, like, you know, ask them what I need to ask them about themselves, or, you know, about their past experiences, and then they completely misunderstood the question, and they'd either be offended. I mean, I remember one time Specifically, I was talking to this lady who'd called in who wanted to be referred to one of the employed branches, and she says she was visually impaired. And yeah, so okay then, right. So you're visually impaired. Okay, love. So I said, do you have are you able to use a computer? You know, are you able to use a computer? Do you have emails? Do you have an email that people can contact you on? And she says, and she was really offended by this, and as if to say, she said to me, I can't see very well, so I can't use a computer. I said, all right, love, I just need to ask the question. Yeah. And she clearly couldn't understand. She clearly couldn't understand why I had to ask that question. I said, it's not, someone might be visually impaired, but there's still. I'd assume that these people might still be able to use a computer because
well, that's it. You can set your thing up to display text in large format and things like that. So, it's people who are visually impaired. Just visually impaired doesn't mean you can't see at all.
No. But the main problem is the question I had to ask is what the main question when I had to the main question they asked, and that sometimes when they can't understand the answer, was Remploy had to take their referrals through the job centre. We can't refer them personally because they have to go through a full-on security check. So I can't take the referral then and there.
Yeah.
You have to be referred by the job centre to go through your security check and that. And they really, and so many of them got so frustrated because they couldn't understand why. Because in recent years before I was there, you were able to just go into the branch and get yourself referred. Yeah. But due to the fact that certain people were taking advantage of the company who weren't entitled to their support.
Yeah. It is, but it's basically the. I know what you mean, because I can remember years ago walking into a branch. There used to be a branch of Remploy in Doncaster, and I just said Remploy, and then it said like jobs available, and I was looking for a job, so I just walked in, and I said like, oh, so you've got some jobs available, what have you got? And the first question they asked me was, do you have any kind of disability or anything like that? I'm like, no, not really. And then they're like, oh, because people that work at Remploy, it's one of, it's mainly people who have got some sort of either physical or mental disability. And I was like, oh, right. Okay, no worries. I mean, there were another place called, oh God, what was it called? Shaw Trust, I think.
Yes, I'm actually with them at the moment.
Yeah, they did something similar. And I remember they're just walking in because they've got an advert in window saying about that, jobs available. And they did the same, and it was just like, okay, it's weird. It could probably say that on the window, so that they didn't get people just walking in, sort of thing. So I told him, I says, how many times do people just walk in like I've done and ask about jobs? It's sort of an awful lot, and it's I can understand why they would want referrals to be done through Dole office, because obviously if you're classed as disabled for whatever reason. You're still, if you're still claiming benefits and you want to, try and find something, the Dole office is the best place to go for it because that's what it's for.
Yeah.
I got a story which was from my last employment. This is more of what happens when you fall down the cracks and get lost. Basically, in my last job, I was a home worker, which is basically why I have this converted shed, because this used to be my office. Basically, one day I log into my computer, set myself up, get ready to do my shift. When I get ready to go live and turn on the software for the call management, and then
just out of interest, did that job used to be for the AA?
No.
It's all right then, because I nearly ended up doing one of them, and the only reason why I didn't get it was because I didn't have a completely empty room that could be sealed off from the outside world. Because they said, like, I don't know what it was. They wanted me to rent them a room in my house for free. And it was like
no, it wasn't for the AA. No, it was a company called Sunset.
Anyway,
so this error message comes up, and I'm thinking, what the hell? Basically, the phone system wasn't working, so I'm thinking it must be an internal error. So I'd drop a message on the message board to the acting manager that day and say, you know, blah, 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 error message, all that. I said, right, not aware of any problems, just reset your systems. I'll put, obviously, an absence line in for you so they know you're going to be late logging on. So I'll reset everything, come back on, log back in, go live on calls, same error message. So I'm back on the message board, you know, just reset, same thing. Literally, I can't do any calls because the call system's not working for me. So I've already done a reset, and you're like, right, okay, well, don't worry about it. Just go onto the system, and we'll put an IT slip in for you. To them, have a look at it. So I was sat there through my shift, got nothing. Then I got a call from the boss who basically took details down of what the error was and basically said, right, I'll sort it, I'll pass it on to RT. Then what followed was 6 months of me not being able to log in to do my work. I was still getting paid for it though, but I wasn't actually doing any work. So I was logging in and just sitting at my computer. During that 6 months, I had 2 actual review sessions with my manager where I said on both occasions, you know, it's been X amount of weeks now, I'm still not able to log in, what's happening with IT? It got to the point where 3 months in, I was basically not bothering to sit at my work computer. I was just watching shit on telly and watching films, and every half an hour or so, nipping in and just like looking at my computer, saying, have they sent me any messages? No, okay. Back into the house, because as far as they're aware, I'm sat in here twiddling my thumbs. And then one day, say 6 months later, I get a phone call from one of the bosses, and they're like, Sam, are you still getting that error message? Yeah, I've been basically getting it for 6 months. I've been chasing IT for 6 months. Glad to know someone's remembered me and that I exist. What's going on? And she was like, well, okay, look, when do you start work today? Oh, start work at this time. Right, okay. When you're logged in, text me directly. Here's my number. Let me know that you're on. I will basically remote access and have a look at this for you. Okay. So go on, I text the manager, and she goes remote access on the computer. Right, Sam, show me what the problem is. Okay, log in. Try to go on to live calls to do the shift. Boom, get this error message. She went quiet for about 10 seconds, and then followed by was, that's the error. Yeah, that's the error. Is there a problem? Right, there isn't a problem, Sam. The problem is IT have basically screwed up. Why? And then she basically explained to me that this is a very basic error that can be fixed in literally 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And she knows how to fix it. And she fixed it for me. And afterwards, it was just a case of, are you telling me that IT could have got me back online on day one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So why didn't they? Because they've probably just let you slip through the cracks. Great. So for 6 whole months, I've been sat here doing nothing because they forgot about me.
You should have kept your mouth shut.
Yeah, I probably do actually, because I sort of had the feeling that if that particular manager hadn't called me that day, I generally believe I probably would have had another 6 months of just basically not doing work and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And I was actually on the verge leading up to before I got the phone call from the boss who got me back online. I was actually seriously considering I really should look at another job.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what you could have done. You could have just like gone and got yourself another job, and then if they rung up, you know, like while you were at work or whatever, and said, "Oh, are you able to log on?" No. You know, like if you got you, that'd be funny. Fuck if you'd have got you a job at like working at train station or something like. Oh, can you log on? And you know, no. And then also the background is ding dong doom. The next train at platform 5. Are you actually at home? Yeah, it's just my dad's watching something about trains on telly.
Yeah, ironically, for at least 6 months I was down, I probably could have got away with doing that.
Yeah.
Because nobody was checking in on me for 6 months. Like I said,
Yeah.
at one point I was just watching telly in the other room in the house.
Yeah.
I was checking the computer every like hour or so. You know, you're probably right there, Carl. It could have been amusing if I'd have got another job and effectively getting 2 paychecks every month.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, it's like I say, it's their fault, not yours. So
yeah,
oh well, we want that 6 months' wages back. It's like, no, it's not my fault that you didn't fucking do it. Oh well, we want it back. Oh, we'll sue you. Sue me, dickhead.
yeah.
It
did get frustrating for a while because, like I said, I did slip through the cracks. I mean, I just stopped. Like people even stopped sort of checking up on me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I done. That's why I asked if it was AA that were doing it, because I replied to a job for AA years ago, and it was basically sort of like the same kind of job I used to do when I used to work at that garage, which was, like things would ring up and they've got problems, like the car broke down or whatever. So you take, the name and check the name and the policy number, make sure they were covered, and then you'd take the details of the problem down, and then you'd send it off to the dispatcher for him to get somebody out to go see him. And they were wanting to do this, like instead of paying for a call center to do it, they were just saying, well, it's pointless paying for a call center, if we've got people that are sat at home with a computer. And it all sounded great up until the point that said, but there's a few provisos. And I'm like, what? And they said, well, how? What's the room going to be like that you'll be working in? And it's at the time. I mean, we've got a computer in the back corner of our living room. So I says, well, it's just like living room. I says, computers in the back. I says, I've already got a desk and everything there. And they said, oh well, no, we'll provide you with a new desk and a chair, so that you can't sue them for saying that you've got back problems from sitting all day or whatever. So it's like, all right then. They said, do you have a telephone line? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, do you have internet access? And it's like, yeah. And they said, what is it, dial-up or broadband? So it's broadband. So I'm like, right, okay. And then they said, so this room that you're using, they said, is there anything else in there? I said, well, yeah, it's my front room. Why? And they're like, oh, right. Is there not any other room in the house you can use? And I said, my bedroom, I suppose. And they went, I'm like, why, what's wrong? And they were like, oh, well, because we want you to have basically a completely empty room.
To make sure that there's nothing else for you to do.
Yeah, nothing else for you to do while you're there.
Yeah. So you don't get distracted from your work.
Yeah, and I was like, well, no, I says, we don't have a spare room, sort of thing. And, and then it's like, oh, right, and I said, well, you're not sure. She says, well, I'll carry on with a list of things just to check off. And she says, your computer, she says, is it the only computer you've got in the house? And I said, well, yeah. And they said, oh, right. It said, so use it for personal stuff as well as business. And I'm like, well, yeah. Oh, right, okay. And then she's like, well, I don't. She says, all the stuff you've got, she says, there's no problem with offering the job. She says, if it was in a call center, she says, but because it's home-based, we can't offer you the job. And like, oh. Well, and says, well, obviously, you've got to have this room that you only use to work in. So you've got to provide your own computer. They'll provide you with a desk and everything. You provide your own computer and telephone line and everything. But your computer's got to be used only for doing the work. You can't use it for, like fucking watching YouTube or playing fucking games or like that. And then obviously the room's got to be completely empty and lockable, so that you can't like sit there watching telly while you're supposed to be answering the phone or whatever. And I just went, so I said, Sagan, I says, basically you're wanting to rent a room off me but not pay me for it. You wanted me to buy another computer, and then you're wanting to tell me what I can and can't do in my own house. It's like, yeah, she says, it's not working out very well at the moment. I says, no, I don't think it will either. It's like, because what happens if one of the people that's supplying has got a spare room but they've got 2 kids? It's like, yeah, I might be working, but if I've got kids, there's a chance that kids will come in. So is AA going to pay for a childminder for me? you know, something like that. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's when you work from home, it's a whole different thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, when that came to Remploy, some people did work at home from the head office, but they were given company laptops.
Yeah.
To work on, which were monitored by the team leaders.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, that's when I worked at council. They used to give them, you know, council laptops and stuff like that, and they were basically set up by the IT department so that they could only be used to, you know, wirelessly access the council network, and that was about it. You could use, you know, like Internet Explorer and stuff, but it was severely restricted. So, you know, you wouldn't be, you know, like working from home and looking at Facebook and shit like that while you were doing it. But, you know, that was fine. You know, it's your work laptop and they've set it up so that you can do work on it. You know, that's no problem. You know, it's just stuff like that, like where they're like, oh, yeah, you know, we want to rent a room in your house but not pay you for it. And, you know, we won't supply you with a computer. You've got to supply that yourself and everything. And, you know. It's like a good idea, but, you know, it needs a little bit more refinement to understand that, you know, when you're working from home, it's supposed to be a bit more relaxed, because that's the whole point of working from home. It's supposed to be a bit more relaxed than a standard business environment. It's like, I thought, what else do they want to do? They want me to get a webcam so they can, you know, spy on me while I'm doing calls to make sure I'm wearing a shirt and tie and everything, or not wanking, you know. Just imagine that, yeah. Taking a call for a woman that's like... you know, like brought down on a dark, you know, fucking back country lane or something like, you know, it's like, good evening, you're through to Cal. Hey, how can I help you? It's like, oh, I've brought them down on a street. Like, okay, can I just take your account number? Oh, yes, I can see you covered for that. So, what sort of car is it you're driving? Okay, and what colour is it? Okay, and what's the problem? Right, no worries, okay. And just for identification purposes, can you tell what colour knickers you're wearing? Oh. Fat, you know.
Yeah, one of the there was sort of like a downside. Well, when I was doing it working from home, one of the downsides was that the company that I worked for, you literally had to literally buy all the kit, the computer, the headset, everything. They wouldn't provide it for you. And one of the things that they did when they sent you sort of like, you know, the initial pack when you kind of got the job, was information on the computers and stuff that they accepted. And even though they were office computers, a lot of these computers were like £300-400.
Yeah.
I basically went on eBay and bought a 3-year-old computer that matched the specifications, and it cost me £80.
Yeah.
And it fascinated me, the amount of people that work for the company, that whenever you were talking about, you know, work computers in general, the amount of people that would be like, well, this bloody thing cost me £400. And I'd be like, mine only cost me £80. How'd you manage that? eBay?
Yeah.
I didn't buy it brand new. It was second hand and about 3 years old, but it still works and runs the software.
I just went and bought this beat up old piece of shit off eBay and it managed to work, yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, I can remember they had, what they call it, one place they worked, they had these fucking Dell, you know, like actual Dell computers, not like Dell workstation things. And they were saying, like, you know, oh, there's going to be a software upgrade, you know. And I just said to them, like, I says, now how much is this software upgrade going to cost, like? But, oh, it's a free upgrade. I said, well, you do realise that when you upgrade this software, because I'd already looked it up, I says, if you upgrade this software, then all the standard desktop PCs we've got won't actually be able to work anymore. I'm like, why? Because, well, because the software upgrade needs you to add about another 128 meg of RAM. You know? I says, in order for it to work properly, I says, minimum requirements are already, you know, well above what we've got as standard on as fucking PCs. You know, oh no, don't be stupid. It'll work. The IT department said it'll work. Like, all right, yeah. Came into work Tuesday morning, none of the fucking computers worked. It's like they had to roll it back to the old software, and then slowly over the course of the next few weeks, they sent out, you know, like they said, oh yeah, your computer will need upgrading. You know, it needs more RAM, and it's like, all right. And they said, oh, can you fit the RAM yourself, or do you need us to send a technician? I says, just send us the fucking chips in an envelope. I'll do it myself. All that, and oddly, quite a lot of RAM went missing as well. Fucking sending out fucking what they call it.
Like missing in the post.
No, it was getting delivered, and
saying, "Yeah, the rabbit arrived yet. Could you send me some more? It's not on eBay. I haven't put it on eBay."
Yeah, I nicked it to stick in my gaming PC back home. Honestly, yeah, stuff like that was missing. It would be funny as fuck that when we came in and not worked. It was like I could get Windows to start up, but you know, it's like whenever I try and load any programs, it's you know they're not running, and you know the crash like every 2 minutes if I do get it running. All right, you know, and then it's like, you know, fucking, and then all, you know, like all Java updates and everything like that needed to be done as well. And it's like, oh, we can't do them because only the IT department can authorize, you know, like software updates like that, you know, like Java and everything. And it's like, well, you're gonna have to be ticking some fucking boxes today, then, you know, to get everything working. Fucking dickheads. And this was actually an IT company as well. Oh, fuck me. Oh, yeah. The yeah, I don't know, fucking thingy that.
Yeah, I mean, like, speaking of software, when I was working, basically, it was really weird. Like when I started, like they were just sort of starting to upgrade to Windows 7. So, you know, I just got a computer that had Windows 7 on it already. And then effectively, about a year later, they were on about, oh, we were thinking about upgrading to Windows 10. And I actually remember having a conversation with my manager about it and basically advising him that you're probably best not looking at a Windows 10 upgrade because I guarantee you right now the company software will not be compatible with Windows 10. And I was pretty much right because they did do an experimental thing where they tried Windows 10 on some like new people that started and found that the software just was not compatible with Windows 10.
Nothing works.
It's just like, you know, you should stick with Windows 7.
Yeah. Here's how it, oh God, what were it? Did Staples. I worked at Staples for a bit. And not in the shop, in their like distribution centre thing. You know, where you used to be able to ring up and order stuff on the phone, and honest to God, the computers there, they were pre-Windows.
Bloody hell, that's old.
They were still running DOS.
Bloody hell!
And it was like, yeah, and it's like the ordering system was so fucking old. It was unbelievable, and it was like it was riddled with problems, and it was just like I was there. It's like, you know, this is only what about. Oh God, what year are we on now? It's only about fucking like 2007, something like that. And they were still running fucking DOS. Oh, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you know, and then it's there. Because I thought at first it was, you know, like Unix or something like that. When I saw screens and they've still got, you know, the old green monitors, you know, where all the text shows up as green. You know, green on a black background. You know, them. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I thought, you know, since straight of like, oh, they're running like a Unix server or something like that, you know, or something like that. And then it's like, fucking no, this is DOS. You know, when you switch computer, it took ages to fucking warm up. And then it'd come up and it'd be like, you know, fucking MS-DOS version 3 or something like that. You know, then it'd be, you'd have to type in, you know, like / fucking load whatever from disk or something, you know. It was like, fuck me, this is a company that's operating in the 21st fucking century. All these computers that they've got, you know, all these computers they've got, everything, they belong in a fucking museum.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding either. These things were like, you know, sort of like original first generation IBM PCs.
Okay, you know, that's like, what, like late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, that's like early mid 80s stuff, yeah. And it's you know, they must have obviously done some updates on them over the years, kind of thing, you know.
Was it 1990 Windows first came about?
93, technically.
Well,
the first PC I ever had was Windows 90. I think it was.
The first Windows 3.1.
If I remember right.
Yeah, I'm going to say the first Windows, yeah, was Windows 3.1. The first sort of proper Windows as we know it now was Windows 95. It was originally supposed to be Windows 93, but They had quite a few problems with it because it was basically Windows 93 was just a sort of like an updated version of Windows 3.1. But yeah, Windows came about sort of like about 87, 88, I think it was, somewhat along those lines, because it was basically a way of like the Apple Mac was the first sort of proper consumer PC to have use a mouse and stuff like that instead of you having to type in things like command pathways and stuff like that. And it was Windows 3.1 was just basically Microsoft's answer to that.
Yeah, ironically, speaking of computers, was going back about 10 years, one of my earlier jobs. It was basically just a 6-month contract with I'll be honest, a rather dodgy company, which I had reason to believe, and I wasn't the only one that believed this, that firstly, one of the main managers, a good number of us believed he was illegally in the country, and that he was running an illegal college out of the company. He was basically running the company within a company.
Yeah, I know.
We also believed that a lot of the people that he was teaching were also in this country illegally.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's beside the point. So basically, I was the only person in that building who, on the staff payroll, who had any IT experience, qualifications, or knowledge. And as a result, I practically spent 90% of my time during those 6 months repairing and keeping these ancient computers running.
Yeah.
It actually got to the point where I was so sick of dealing with all these clearly illegal people coming in and using the computers for Facebook and YouTube that I put a complete block on Facebook and YouTube and yanked out all the bloody sound cards so nobody could listen to music anymore.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, we generally had belief that one of the guys working there was illegally in the country, along with everybody that was sort of
on about that. Yeah, they were on about that on one of them thingy programs, like that, was it Border Force or whatever it is, on Sky, and they were saying about that, like people, they were running investigations into these, like colleges that only took people from like India and whatever. And they went to one of them, the address.
Imagine if you...
the address that they were given, and when they actually went to the address of what this college was, it was like above a supermarket or something. They went and had a look and said, about this thing, and all it was just a postal address. Somebody had come along and pick up any post that they'd got. And,
it wasn't quite like that with this guy, because basically when I was brought on, I was meant to be an administrator for this little sort of company that was perfectly legit and legal. And basically, they sort of dealt with from what I understood, they sort of dealt with minority communities and sort of dealt with them integrating into the UK. They were part of the Gateway program.
Yeah.
However, my sort of boss, and I use that term loosely, ran his own little thing that he called Myton Community College.
Yeah.
And from what I understood, he sort of had a lot of rather dodgy people who were obviously not from the UK coming in to learn English with him because he had a degree and was educated to teach people English. And from the amount of times these people would come in to be taught English, and all they did all day was basically sit on computer and mess about on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but notice one week this particular dodgy guy vanished. No one could get a hold of him by phone. Nobody knew where he was. And it just so happened that week he disappeared, there were job centre people sniffing about the building.
Yeah. Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Yeah, there was a lot of dodgy stuff going on with that guy.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's still stuff like that about now. You know, the fake college where it's basically what they do is they get the people pay for whatever, and then it's just like so they can get the student visa to enter the UK, and then as soon as they do, the just go off and get jobs at like warehouse work and stuff like that.
Yeah, the interesting thing about, as I say, these fake colleges, I think there was one because I was watching like Border Force or something the other week, and
yeah,
they had this guy who'd come into the country and he got flagged up straight away for various reasons, and he was basically stating, you know, he was there to continue his college education, and he had with him like loads of documentation from this college and like loads of degrees and stuff, and basically the whole lot was fake.
Yeah,
this college did not exist; it never had, and I think when he sort of did a bit of digging, the address that he gave them was basically like some local supermarket. Sort of like, obviously the whole thing was fake, but on the same subject, when you watch any of the programs or documentaries where they've gone, you know, full on investigation into them, you sometimes come across elaborately set up fake colleges that have, like, you know, computer rooms with computers in them, but the computers themselves are just empty cases.
Yeah,
and you know, you'll have like lists of students set up and lesson plans, but nobody works there.
No,
you know, it's quite interesting how they'll set them up.
Yeah, it's look, I know there was one where the guy and he come and he said he were coming to do college or whatever in this country, and I said to him, like, are you intending to work while you're in this country? And he's like, oh no, God bless you, no. And he's like, all right, so what are you doing at college then? He goes, oh, a computer course. And bloke says to him, he's like, yeah, but what computer course are you doing? And he's just like, oh, a computer course. And he's like, well, have you got any paperwork to show me what this course is that you're doing? He goes, yes, it's called the computer course. And he's like, yeah, he says, I think you'll find that you don't come to a college or a university in this country and they have a thing called the computer course.
No.
So if you know, then they asked him to produce his paperwork for it. And that's what set them off to that, you know, where I said the what they call it, the college that was, you know, like above a supermarket, that were just like literally it was, you know, like an old office, you know, like offices or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like an office in there with a desk and a telephone, but other than that, there was nothing else there. There were just empty rooms, and whoever it was that was renting the, you know, the office space was just coming there like, you know, maybe once, twice a week just to pick the post up, and that were it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you had to do any interviews or anything like that, you'd just do them in office, and all the doors would be shut, and, you know, be like, oh yeah, it's we're not open students, it's study leave and things like that. Yeah, and it's all it was just, it's like I say, it was just a way of getting people to come, you know, like on a, you know, on a student visa to work, and then, well, some of them would come here and they'd just like get a job working in a, you know, like agency or whatever, or, you know, stuff like that, or they'd just disappear. Yeah, and it's like I said there, they managed to find this guy who was doing it, and he ended up doing some time in one of Her Majesty's finest hotels. I
mean, you know, speaking of people that disappear, I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that happens when you watch these like border patrol programs and stuff like.
Yeah.
I remember one. This was a UK one. Border agents were basically going to this takeaway to basically check the legitimacy of people working.
Yes, I know. I said that one. Yeah, and it's like literally.
All right, guys, talk about yourself for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go down for another fag.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I remember seeing that one because it's like literally everybody working there were illegal.
Yeah.
And the only person that wasn't was the guy that owned it. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know."
And you're like, what? You didn't check the passports or the paperwork?
Yeah. And then I remember it's like, oh, I didn't know. And then his fucking face dropped when they said, well, what was it? I think it's £5,000 fine for every person that was working there that they didn't have a visa for.
Yeah, what, like six people or something.
Mm.
So it was like fine.
Yeah, something daft like that. For every person that wasn't there, it was quite a hefty fine.
I remember a similar one where it was basically a similar thing where they were investigating like a car wash, and again, like everybody working there was illegal.
Yeah, I remember seeing one where they turned up, and as soon as they turned, like two vans and 2 cop cars, and as soon as they turned up, it's like the everybody working there made a run for it.
Mm.
it's like, oh, I wonder if they're here working properly. They've done some other stuff like that, like where they're going, went into somebody's house and they found it got, like stuff there for printing like fake passports and things like that. And, like blank driving license card and everything. He's got all that set up there just so that, people had come, people, they're coming on student visas or holiday visa or whatever. And they're basically nip down, see him, hand over some cash, and walk out with a brand new identity.
Yeah, there's always been weird ones. I mean, there's we get the ones where they're going to investigate some like corner shop somewhere, and then it's like, right, well, everything seems in order, but we just need to check the flat upstairs, and it turns out there's like 20 people living in a 1-room flat.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, well, you're all obviously not here legally.
Yeah, I know. One of them I seen once. It were, I felt sorry for the poor bastard. They got 3 men living in what was basically a garage. There was like a house, and I think there were like 18 people living in this fucking like 2-bedroomed house or something. And then they were renting out the garage, and there were 3 blokes living in there. Just kipping on mattresses on floor. And it was like when they went in there, they're saying, how much are you paying for this? And bloke's like, £100 a week or something. And he's like, what do you get at it? What happens if you want to go to the toilet or cook yourself something to eat? And they were like, oh, well, if we want to go to the toilet, we have to go into house. But if we can't do that, then, we've got a bucket in corner. And then it's if a cooker said something to eat, they've got like a fucking camping stove or something, in corner. And it's like, fucking hell. Another one, it was, I think it was the same house, actually. They'd rented out a cupboard upstairs. It was just literally a cupboard. And they were classing that as a room. And this poor bastard was paying like, fucking, 100 quid a week or whatever to live there in a cupboard. It was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh. And then they go, then they say like, oh yeah, private renting's the way to go. Is it? Fucking 100 quid a week for a cupboard? I don't fucking think so. Oh.
Yeah, I was watching Can't Pay Will Take It Away.
Yeah.
There was this one particular thing where they were doing an eviction from a property, basically, where some people have been living and obviously they weren't paying the rent. And when they got there, it turned out that this property was basically a former bank. And effectively, someone had bought it and was basically charging people to live there. When you went into this bank, it was still set up like a bank.
Yeah.
The person who bought it never turned it into flats. So you basically had people like living in effectively the bank vault and the bank panic room and living in the little offices in the back.
Yeah.
It was weird. But it was literally owned by somebody who essentially was a landlord, but he'd never turned it into flats. He just was renting it out to people to live there.
Yeah, I know they had one on where it was, I don't know, like bus station or train station or somewhere in, like one of seaside towns. And they closed it down. And this guy had bought it, and then they had like fucking squatters move in or something like that. And they were living there, and it's, they go like, squatters, they need somewhere to live. And it's like, but when it actually showed you inside, the place looked like a fucking tip.
Mm.
you know, all these fuckers there, you know, like, oh, fuck the government, you know, property is theft and all shit like that. You know, and it's like, well, you know, I'd agree with you, but, you know, when are you going to learn how to flush the toilet? You know, instead of just shitting in the toilet constantly and not flushing it, you dirty bastards. Fucking empty beer cans everywhere and all stuff like that. It's like, you know, if you're gonna squat somewhere and then, you know, tell people that you're not animals or whatever, then, you know, maybe flick a duster around occasionally, you know, sweep up, take rubbish out, you know. You know, I do remember
all property and power of the government, all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
It was can't pay and take it away, and they were actually doing an eviction of a house where there'd been squatters living there for like a year. And when obviously they came with the police, and you know they got them all, some of them were arrested, and the state of the house was just a tip. You know, it was a shithole. But what was really interesting was one of the people living there was actually some bloody university professor. He was writing on stating that, you know, this whole squatting thing, it's all about making a stand and it's all about this, that, and the other. And they were like, mate, you're a university professor. Why are you living in shit?
Yeah.
You know, why are you allowing these people to basically destroy another person's property? And he was all like, you know, oh, well, you know, you don't understand. It's about sending a message to the government and all that kind of crap. It's like, no, you're basically destroying somebody's property.
Yeah, you're basically, you're smashing up somebody else's property, and the only message you're giving is, we're filthy bastards.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird when you see all the houses, you know, like where squatters have been living and stuff, and you're almost always guaranteed that the houses will be filthy. You know, there'll be holes knocked in fucking walls, and there'll be rubbish everywhere, and, you know, bathroom, you know, toilet will be smashed, you know, from being shitting and just left, and then bath will be full of shit as well, and, you know, stuff like that. And then it's like, you know, fair enough, you need somewhere to live. You know, there's a lot of homeless people. You know, there's a lot of homeless people, and there's a lot of empty houses. So yeah, sometimes people are going to break in, but, you know, if you're going to do that, then at least, you know, you don't have to fucking be a dirty bastard. You know, it fucking gets me. I mean, I do remember seeing one, and a couple of years ago, where some squatters had been living in this, what wasn't like an abandoned, I don't know whether it weren't a mansion. I think it used to be like some sort of like old-fashioned office buildings or something like that. And they've basically been squatters living there for about 10, 15 years. And in that time, they basically repaired all the, you know, like where they've got like leaky roofs and stuff like that. They'd repaired all that. They'd done plumbing, and they got wiring, and they got, you know, thingy set up so that, you know, they had an electric bill come and a gas bill and a water bill, and they paid for it, you know, and all that. And then the company that owned the building decided they wanted them evicting. But, you know, it's like the people said, well, we've been living here for 15 years. I mean, it's not like there were only 2 of them, you know, there were like about a dozen of them. And they said, well, we've been living here for 15 years. We've kept the build, you know, we've maintained the upkeep of the building. We've kept it clean and tidy. You know, we've brought all his own furniture and everything like that. Everything that's been done to the building has been done out of our own expense. So, you know, if you want to evict us, that's fine, but we want paying for basically being caretakers for the building for the past 15 years. And, you know, it got took to court, and the judge awarded the building to the squatters. Because I said there, basically, the building was abandoned. And it's like, yes, although this other company owned the building, they'd effectively abandoned it and left it to crumble. So, you know, and the amount of time and money that the squatters had put in, you know, keeping the building up and, you know, turning it basically into a home, said there was more than the building was actually worth. So it's like they said there, you know, they gave it to the squatters and just said, yeah, you can keep it, it's yours now. Well, it's like, you know, that's what I say, you know, they wanted to live there, and they set up, you know, like a fucking hippie commune sort of thing, you know, that kind of thing. And but that's like I said, they'd looked after the building, they'd done all that, and they turned it from being an abandoned old building into a home. And that's what lost the fucking thing, because they were just there, you know, the company owned it were just like, oh, we'll come in sniffing for some money sort of thing. And it's like, well, why the fuck should we give you anything? You know, we've paid for this fucking place themselves. Well, and you can see the point there, but it's like you get the basically the druggy squatters, the waste of space, the fucking communists or whatever they are, anarcho-communists or whatever they are. They're fucking idiots. Then they're just like, oh, we want an house for free. We don't want to work or anything. We don't want to do anything, and we just want all stuff given. It's like, yeah, I bet you they were quite happy to take the fucking dole money and shit, weren't they? While they were squatting there and shitting in fucking baths and everything. Dirty bastards.
One thing that is probably worth mentioning, which I've always thought was rather funny. I forget what it was. Oh, that was it. You'll probably like this, Carl, actually. You remember a few weeks ago, you were telling me about that guy who, claimed to have evidence against Vic Mignogna, proving everything was real and all that stuff, but refused to reveal it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's something you'll find interesting. So, as you probably may know, the court case is now ongoing, and obviously Vic's got the defence, and Monica Reel, who started the whole thing, got her prosecution and all that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah.
It's basically been revealed that the time has come for basically the prosecution to provide the evidence. The prosecution have basically said that, oh, well, we can't really reveal any of the evidence because it's kind of all bullshit.
Oh dear.
It basically, so like the court papers that have been filed. For example, when it's been asked, like, providing proof of people who have said, at this convention he did this, that blah 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 blah. A lot of the answers were like, oh, well, we can't give away that information because we don't want it in the public domain. Right, okay, well, what about this? Yeah, we don't want to get you in contact with them people because, we don't want to give out their email addresses. It's like, right, is any of this evidence real? No, not really.
Yeah. Are you actually able to present any tangible evidence to support your claims?
No.
No. Case dismissed.
Yeah, that's pretty much
the only thing that they need to be. Yeah, the only thing that she needs to be revealing at the moment is her checkbook.
Yeah, 100%. You give it another week or two, and you'll probably find that Vic Mignogna is going to get a massive payoff. Yeah.
It'll either have to be an out-of-court settlement, or if they really push it, then it'll be, what they call it, judge will award in Vic's favour.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting as to what's happened there, because like so many people, as you know, were rattling on for ages, and then when people were saying, well, the court date's set, where's the evidence you've got? Oh, well, I'm not ready to reveal it yet. Then, come the day in court. Yeah, about that, Your Honour. What would you do, hypothetically, if we sort of made the whole thing up? Hypothetically, what would happen?
Yeah, this is the thing. It's you can take witness statements, obviously, but
the whole thing up,
oh crap!
Hypothetically,
oh fuck! What? Stop! Fucking mute, you twat! There we go. Yeah, the whole thing is, you can rely on witness testimonies and stuff like that, but there does come a point where it's like, oh, we have information from a witness, that this happened or that happened or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but when you've got, like, oh, just, somebody anonymously saying something, it's like that doesn't really stand up in court.
I know.
Even if you've got 10 people anonymously saying something, you can't really, that doesn't really stack up as evidence. It's flimsy.
No, I can sort of imagine that. I can almost
it wouldn't even be classed as circumstantial evidence.
I'm kind of beginning to think that what might actually happen now is they're going to start going, well, we've got this evidence, Your Honour. It's basically printouts from Twitter this is what some people have been saying on Twitter. It's like, right, but are they able to collaborate what they're saying in court? No, not really. They don't really want to be involved, and they've even decided to not, press forward with any of the evidence that apparently they have. So all we've got is what they said on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's the fact that it's going to end with Vic getting a massive payout, and you're probably right, Carl. It'll be private. And I actually reckon Funimation and Rooster Teeth are going to get one hell of an ass kicking as well.
Well, yeah, because that's what I say. It's it's start off with the. I mean, I can't remember who it is that's in the in the case. Obviously, it's Vic. It's Vic doing a court case against them. So he's the he's the claimant and they're the defendant. And I don't know whether it's him doing one against her personally to start off with, and then moving on and doing claims against the rest, or whether he's doing it all in one go. It'd be better off doing it all in one go, because then that's basically what evidence have you got? Yeah, it'd be basically, what evidence have you got? None. Right. What evidence have you got? None. What evidence have you got? None. Sorted. It's that's what I say. I mean, it'll probably it will more than likely end up with some sort of out of court settlement, along with some sort of like non-disclosure agreement. But to be fair, if I was Vic and they shoved a non-disclosure agreement under my nose, I'd tell them to go and suck it, because it's like, right, you said all this shit about me, and then now you expect me to keep fucking quiet while you make a mealy-mouthed apology and get your checkbooks out. I don't fucking think so. Like, anything you've got to say it in court, open, fucking, and then I'll decide how much I want from you.
Yeah, I found it interesting as well, because, as you probably wouldn't be surprised, a lot of the people on Twitter who were basically spreading all the shit about him have now decided to not spread shit and in fact jump back on the support Vic bandwagon.
Yeah. Either that, or they've just gone mysteriously quiet.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, either one of the two.
Yeah, mysteriously quiet when asked about it. Suddenly they don't have any opinion, or they don't respond to your question, or they try and flat out deny that they ever said anything in the first place. That's usually the fun ones. Well, if I don't remember it, it never happened. And it's like, yeah, the memory hole's not a thing,
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how it all turns out, because if it does, if it does turn out, everything gets, thingied in Vic's favour, it does open the doors for quite a lot of other people who've had shit said about him as well to start asking for people to get the checkbooks out.
Yeah, it could be the start of a major movement for, wrongly accused people, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago in the UK. There was a case involving a university student who was accused, a woman accused him of raping her. And if I remember correctly, it turned out that the prosecution actually withheld evidence that proved his innocence.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I remember that one. They purposefully withheld a series of text messages where she was texting him, begging him to come round and fuck her. And then when he did come round and fuck her, she said, so are we going out then? And he's like, no. You asked me to come round and fuck you, so I did. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same sort of thing as what happened with Mattress Girl.
Mattress Girl?
Yeah, the woman that claimed that she was raped while she was at uni and then spent an entire year carrying a mattress round. And
oh, yes.
Yeah. And basically all it turned out was that, she'd been shagging this guy on and off, and then, he pretty much said, I'm not right bothered about, going out with you or anymore. And she's like, oh, well, fair enough, can we just keep it sexual? So he's like, yeah, all right. And then she asked him to come round for a fuck, and he went in he took her in both holes, and then she went like, "Oh, I've been raped," and it turned out all of it was complete and utter lies.
Yeah.
and as far as I'm aware, he's got a fairly nice payout from both the university and the police department and some of the newspapers as well. But yeah, I'm going to say it's. I think the whole thing about, you know, all this like falsely accused stuff, it's starting to turn on them now, because more and more, you know, especially where women are accusing blokes of rape and things like that, more and more women are now being punished for it. Whereas before they could just get off scot-free. Now it seems the courts in this country anyway, I'm not quite sure about in the US, and I've seen quite a few things have come out of the US where women have done proper shitty things like murdered the kids and stuff like that and still get off scot-free with it. But, you know, stuff like that, like actually the punishments themselves aren't very good. You know, it's like, you know, 200 hours community service, or, you know, like 3 weeks in prison or something like that. But it's a start. And I think it's now, we're now getting to the point where, you know, courts and stuff are getting a bit sick of, you know, having cases coming before them where it's you know, the charges are baseless. And, you know, it's all, you know, it's just made up. And half the time, all it turns out to be is just that it's either women who've gone out and just had sex with people at random, you know, gone out to the pub and pulled or whatever, and then kind of regretted, you know, once the beer goggles have come off, they kind of regretted it. Or, you know, like women who are making themselves available to men, but then, you know, if man's not particularly interested in a relationship with them, or even if he, you know, they make themselves available to him and he just flat out says, I'm not interested, you know, stuff like that. And then, oh, I've been raped, you know, because that's happens quite a lot. You know, there doesn't even have to be any kind of sex involved.
Yeah.
You know, just the old, like, oh, you know, oh, well, you know, and this is the thing though, it's like that, you know, it's, if a bloke says, you know, oh, I've been treating this lass really nice for a long time, I've bought her, you know, a flower print, took her out, stuff like that, and then she's, you know, we haven't even fucking had sex yet or anything like that. It's like, oh, that's just disgusting male entitlement. You are not entitled to women's bodies or time. Yeah, when a woman does the same thing, you know, like, oh, I really fancy this bloke, you know, and I've worked up courage to you know, ask him out or whatever, and then he said no, so, you know, I'm going to say that he raped me to punish him, you know. But yeah, that's like, you know, oh, well, you know, it's different for women. It's like, well, if it's different for women, then, you know, that's not quite right, is it? I thought you wanted equality. Or is it only equality about the things that, you know, you're bothered about?
Yeah, there was one of last year actually involving again in the UK, as you say, it started to pick up steam and more are being, you know, actually punished for it. And she'd basically accused 2 men of rape. One of them ended up serving about 2.5 years in jail, and the other ended up having to flee the UK to avoid basically being arrested.
Yeah.
And then, like, basically, like 2 years later, when obviously the first guy was still in prison, it got revealed that there was CCTV footage of this woman in McDonald's at the time of when she said one of the rapes took place.
Yeah.
And obviously that came to light, and obviously it caused the whole thing to crumble. And one guy was let out of prison, but obviously got a big fat "we're sorry" check. And the guy eventually was able to come back to the UK.
It's like the one that they were about. What was the guy in the train station where the woman had said he'd walked up and, or he'd walked up and fingered her or something.
Oh yeah, that was a really weird one.
I can't understand how that even got to fucking court, because it's like they had the CCTV footage available right from the beginning, and it quite clearly showed the guy just walking past her. He didn't even get within touching distance of her.
Yeah, I remember that.
He just walked past her or something, and I can't. What it was? I don't know. Well, I'll say he didn't get within touching distance. I think he like brushed against her or something as he was walking. You know, like not properly looking where he was going.
Yeah.
Or she wasn't looking where she was going, and somehow that got to, what was it? You know, like, oh, somehow, even though she was wearing a long skirt, it somehow managed to bend over, put his hand up a skirt, and then through both, you know, like underwear or whatever it was she was wearing, somehow managed to stick his fingers up her and give her a good fucking finger bang, you know, before then like popping them out, sniffing them, and walking off. You know, and it's like, yeah, it's that was that, and why? Well, you know, she's somebody that should have gone to fucking prison, because that was like a complete waste of both police and court time.
Yeah.
And you know, it could have ended up with a bloke getting locked up for, you know, like fucking 10 years or whatever for, you know, what is considered a serious sexual assault. You know, just because he happened to like brush against her in the train station and she didn't like it. Like, tough shit. Fucking bitch. I noticed the what they call it, one of the blokes that fucking murdered James Bulger's been in the news again.
John Venables.
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah, apparently he's supposed to be getting out of prison sometime soon again. You know, because last time he ended up in prison, it was for being caught with loads of kiddie porn.
Yeah.
Didn't he get out of prison last time, and then 2 weeks later he was back in prison for basically owning kiddie porn?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It'd been released early, but on, you know, like where, you know, you're allowed to go out of prison early, but only under, you know, like certain circumstances. Yeah. You know, you have to be at home for 6 o'clock every night, and you have to report to the police station every day, and everything like that. And yeah, he got caught with kiddie porn. So back to prison he went, and got a nice little bit extra tacked on at the end for being a pervert. Well, apparently he's supposedly coming up for release again, and apparently this time round he says he wants to be given a new life abroad with a new identity and everything like that, so that people don't know who he is and that he can get on with his life. And he wants us to pay for it. It's like, no, I don't think that's going to be happening.
No,
at all.
James Bulger's mother, she must be.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's all right. So there were only kids when they did it, but it's like, you know, it's a son. It might have been oh god, how many years ago was it?
I think it was
1993, I think.
93 or 94.
Yeah, something like that. So we're talking, you know, we're talking 20 odd years. And it keeps coming up in the fucking news again and again because of this twat. You know, it's like, right, he went to prison when he was a young un. They kept him in prison till he was 18. Well, they kept him in thingy till he was 18. And then they put him in normal prison and started getting him ready for, you know, like early release, because it's like, all right, so he killed somebody, but, you know, he was only a kid when he done it. So you can hold him responsible, but you can't hold it against him forever, sort of thing. And then what's he do? Gets out
identity when they released him, which he let slip.
Yeah, he managed to fuck up himself, and then he got caught with fucking kiddie porn and everything. And then he pops up in the news every so often, making demands that he wants this and he wants that. I've not actually heard anything about the other one.
Robert Thompson.
The other guy, I'm blast ahead anyway. Apparently, he's just sort of settled down somewhere in the UK with like a whole new identity. He's not actually been in any kind of trouble.
No.
Yeah, they said there's never been any evidence to suggest he's ever reoffended. Robert Thompson, the other one was.
Yeah.
Didn't it state in like if you look back into it, wasn't it stated that Robert Thompson was possibly the whole ringleader of it all and may well have been the guy who eventually killed James Bulger?
I don't know.
The other kid that was with him may not really have done much.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I do know that fucking John Venables keeps coming up like a bad smell every so often, you know, looking for attention and money. And it's just like, you know, it's at the point where why don't they just keep him in prison? Because every time they've let him out, he's just ended up back in prison again for one reason or another. And, you know, even if they send him abroad, you know, if they do what he wants and they send him abroad with a new identity and everything like that, there's a better than average chance he's going to get locked up there as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's obviously got a taste for kiddie porn, so, you know, there's a better than average chance that you know, if they send him to fucking, I don't know, Germany or something like that, he's gonna be caught with fucking kiddie porn again.
I'm somewhat surprised he hasn't had the shit kicked out of him in prison yet.
Yeah, I must say, yeah, that is rather strange that he hasn't been found in his cell, you know, as they call it, you know, found in his cell in an unresponsive state. Unless they've been keeping him in like protective custody or something while he's there, like they do for certain people, because they know that they're going to get fucking murdered.
Yeah, the Ian Huntley, he spent literally his entire prison sentence in isolation, hasn't he?
Yeah, because they know if he ever needs. It's like they say, for some people, it's, you know, they'll go in, you know, people go in prison, and then there's people on outside that'll quite happily pay money. And, you know, there's them inside that are serving life sentences or extremely long sentences that they're unlikely to be ever let out.
Mm.
You know, they'll quite happily, you know, take a deal where, you know, somebody will pay some money to the family or something like that, and they'll fucking kick shit out of him or kill him or whatever. And then there's some people like Ian Huntley where if you put him in general population, he's likely to get the shit kicked out of him for free. You know, we'll do something to him for free. It's one of the reasons why they keep all the, you know, rapists and kiddie fiddlers away from the, you know, the general population, because...
Well, I mean, yeah, but Ian Huntley supposedly sexually abused and murdered those two girls.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he did. Well, he did. He, you know, he fucking, I don't know whether he raped or assaulted them or whatever, and then he's murdered them both. So he's not exactly going to be, you know, he's, when he gets to, you know, whichever prison he goes to, he's not exactly going to have the red carpet rolled out for him by the other, you know, by other prisoners.
No.
Unless it's into a nice quiet.
One thing I've never got about him.
Waiting for him.
It's said that before that case, the Holly and Jessica case, he actually had been accused of sexual allegations before, sometime in the 90s or something, and somehow he got a job as a school caretaker.
Well, it depends on whether, if he got accused of something and then, you know, and then was, you know, basically no charges brought against him, it doesn't show up.
I think that was the case, as he said.
Yeah.
It's
basically,
like
if you get arrested or anything like that for something, and then it turns out that, you know, police either don't have enough evidence to prove it, or, you know, if they do find evidence but it proves that you didn't do it, that doesn't show up on your criminal record, because, you know, that's not fair. Certain places in America.
There was that other case in the 90s. There was that teenager. Her name was Leanne Tiernan, who got nabbed by this bloke on her way home sometime, and then supposedly he killed her and kept her body in a freezer for like 6 months.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that one.
And when
I was like 8 or 9 when that happened.
I'm trying to remember that one.
Yeah, and when they caught the bloke, they sort of linked him through evidence to the disappearance of so many other young girls.
We'll call him Levi Belfield.
Yeah, Levi Belfield.
Yeah, because it were him that killed Millie Dowler as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed Millie Dowler. It's all people like that tend to keep away from the general population, because you know, they're gonna have something done to them. I mean, look at fucking what they call him, bloody Yorkshire Ripper. You know, Peter Sutcliffe. He's been in prison now since late 70s, and he's had God knows what fucking done to him.
He's still alive. I thought he was dead.
I think he is now. I'm not quite sure whether he is or isn't. I know he lost an eye. Somebody stabbed him in the eye with a pen.
Oh God.
He lost an eye. He's been beat up God knows how many times. He's nearly been killed a couple of times. He's been stabbed God knows how many times. And you know, it's like that. And it's like, well, you know, what's he doing in? You know, it's the only way that you get in that is if you're in general population. It's like, I wouldn't understand why they would keep him in general population, considering that there's plenty of people out there that would love to fucking stick a knife in him. But, you know, it's I don't know, it could Could just be that he's on non-swing, and you know some other nonces don't particularly like him. You know,
plausible.
Somebody's doing a deal somewhere. I don't know.
Well, there's also 2 people who are going to spend their entire lives in isolation, because if they were in general population, they will be dead very quickly.
Yeah.
The people who killed Lee Rigby.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't last 2 minutes in fucking general population unless they stuck them in. Unless they stuck them in one of them prisons where it's majority fucking Muslims, at which point there'd be fucking red carpet rolled out and they'd be given a 3-course dinner and bullshit like that. Mind you, there was something on it we talked about that. You know, like how Tommy Robinson has said about the, you know, certain prisons being, you know, basically run by Muslim gangs, and then they tried to make out no, that there isn't. And this, I think it was, I don't know, this week or last week. A report was released, you know, where they'd actually looked into it, you know, because obviously it's something that's become important since they put Tommy Robinson in prison. And he ended up going to one of the prisons where he said, you know, it's if put in general population, I'm going to be killed by, you know, going to be killed or at least attacked by these gangs. You know, so they did a report into it and said, yeah, there's certain prisons in the country where there are basically Muslim gangs, and not only that, it's the Muslim gangs. If you go into prison and you're a Muslim, you're expected to join a gang. If you don't, or if you say you don't want to be associated with them, you'll basically get the shit kicked out of you on a daily basis until you say, all right, I'll fucking join. If you're not a Muslim, you're forcefully converted, or you get shit kicked out of you every day until you do. I can't remember what else it said about it. And it said basically everything that Tom Robinson said about, you know, this kind of situation in these prisons is true. And then they come out and say, oh, no, that's just him being racist and stuff like that. Well, no, it's not. It's true. But apparently the couple of people put videos up on YouTube about it, and a couple of places have put, you know, like news reports on it. But you know, the powers that be at YouTube and various other things have, you know, made sure, you know, like Google, you can't really find these news stories unless you properly know what to type in, and, you know, YouTube's made sure that you can't see these videos, and, you know, where possible, they've either removed them or just buried them so far down in the algorithm that you can't find them.
I mean, I know it's a bit off top. Well, I suppose a little bit off topic, but it's sort of in similar circumstances to a certain degree. But in the last 6 months or so, there's been a hell of a lot of people arrested and charged for sharing the Christchurch video.
Yeah. I can sort of understand why.
Yeah, I can.
See, because technically it's a snuff film, you know, and it's not very nice, you know, basically seeing people being murdered, because, you know, I can't understand why. I can't understand why
people say it's fake.
Well, some people say it's fake, yeah, but just fucking ignore them. I can't understand why, though, people are getting arrested and put in prison for it. Because, you know, it's stuff like that. I mean, this is one of the things that, you know, like Stephen Crowder keeps saying, it's time, because stuff like this is getting shared on, you know, like, so it's getting shared on, you know, like Facebook groups and Twitter groups and on Reddit and stuff like that, you know. And this is why Stephen Crowder keeps saying it's come the time where all this social media stuff has to declare what its position is, whether they are a publisher or a platform. Because there's two the two are very distinct and, you know, legally standing. Obviously, a publisher can censor whatever they want, because it's basically a publisher has, you know, like editorial control over what subject or what content they put out, whereas a platform, well, obviously a publisher can be held responsible for anything that gets, you know, published, you know, whatever content gets published via, you know, under their banner, whereas a platform, it's up to the individual. You know, it's basically, you know, like you can have YouTube, and then if I uploaded, you know, copy of the fucking Christchurch killing, it'd be my fault, not YouTube's fault. You know, YouTube were just there to provide me with a platform to post content on. You know, I choose to do this. It's a snuff film. It's illegal. It's, you know, disrespectful or whatever. So yeah. But people that share it, it's like, well, they're not responsible for uploading it. They're not responsible for what's depicted in the video. They're not responsible for uploading it. They are responsible for sharing it, even though it's in extremely poor taste to do it.
Yeah.
The only ring that you could really get them on is, like I say, you know, because it's a snuff film, and obviously that's illegal. But then again,
companies provide users with the option to share videos.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's that's the whole point of social media, is to be able to share stuff between yourself and the group, kind of thing. And this is the thing about it, right? The video has got people being shot and whatever in. But yet you can still, you know, you can see news footage of people getting shot and blown up and stabbed. And so this is the thing. If it's all right for the news to show, you know, 12 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, footage from a drone of, you know, a missile blowing up a thing and people on fire and being blown up or whatever, or a bomb going off and people getting killed, or, you know, some dickhead wandering around the streets killing, you know, stabbing people or whatever, which happens occasionally, you know. If it's all right for them to do it, why is it not all right for me to share the video of the Christchurch footage? Like I say, it might be in poor taste, but if the news is allowed to do it, then why am I not?
Didn't like the day it happened, didn't certain news groups actually post it up on their own websites?
Yes.
Yeah, because I heard about that.
Yeah, because it was basically a live stream, the whole thing to Facebook, and then you know, it was available. Obviously, if it's uploaded to Facebook or live stream to Facebook, you can download it. You know, it's not hard to download videos off Facebook. It's just the same as downloading videos off YouTube. It's there, and you can do it if you want. You know, yeah, people, yeah, some news organisations did actually download copies of the video and post it either in full or excerpts of it. You know, edited excerpts of it. Some of them blurred. Well, I think most of the legit news media kind of that showed parts of the video are blurred out. You know, the fucking guts and blood and bodies and everything like that. Some of them didn't. Some of them put on screen grabs from it that weren't edited, stuff like that. And then, obviously, when all the shit hit the fan about it, all that lot disappeared. You can still watch the fucking, well, as far as I know, I don't know, I've not seen it for ages. I've not felt the urge to watch that shit for ages, but, you know, it's still out there on various places if you want to see it, and you don't have to, you know, like, get Tor browser and go on the deep web either. It's on fucking legit sites.
Oh, no, I've seen it.
It's hosted on legit sites. You know, it's not on YouTube as far as I know, unless they've done the switcheroo, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not on things like Dailymotion and stuff like that.
It wasn't that difficult to find, to be perfectly honest. I found it on what I can only assume was a YouTube clone.
Yeah,
it was the full thing, all unedited, you know, nothing edited, nothing blared out.
No.
You know, you really got to, you know, I'm no stranger to that kind of stuff, but I mean, it's not like I go looking for it, but you see it now and then, it crops up. I mean, like when I was 9, the Kosovo War was in full swing. Yeah. And I remember the BBC showing unedited footage of a little boy and his father being shot by a firing squad.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of, I mean, that had a big effect on me, to be fair. Not in like a negative way, but in the way that it made me see that the world is full of violence and death, and that my school teachers who were very religious, I'm just going to say it because this is how I felt about it after I saw that particular news footage that day, that all this stuff about God and good and how God is the way and how God protects people is just shit.
Yes.
Because people die every day. People can be devout Christians and never have done anything wrong in their lives and could literally walk out their house one day and get stabbed to death by some maniac.
Yeah.
You know, and that maniac could never ever get caught and die at the age of 96. You know, the world is full of stuff like that, and you have to accept it. I think. To get through life, you've got to accept it.
You know, when you're like in a city centre or a town centre, and you've got someone with a crowd around you reading stuff from the Bible or that, and I just think, God, this person has got nerve.
Yeah, they've got nerve, and God, they have a really sad life.
We used to have a guy that did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. You know, it's all right. You know, if you believe in God or whatever, if that's your thing, then yeah, fine, crack on. Don't do you. It's just that when you get those ones like that, you know, the one like those that hang around in town centres. I'm not sure. Sometimes I've seen them, and I don't know whether the Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, or whether the like Gideon Society or Mormons or whatever. I've seen bits of all sorts. Or the fuckers that come and knock on your door, you know, sometimes, most of the time that's Jehovah's Witnesses, but sometimes it's Mormons. And, you know, it's like that. I really don't know. No, that shouldn't happen. It's like, you know, fair enough. You've chosen your path to go down. You know, you believe in God or whatever, and you're quite happy with that. You know, you've read through the various books and you've listened to the stories and everything. And I would assume that being as an adult, you've kind of noticed the bits that don't quite fit, and you know, and you've either worked out a way that works for you to make them fit, or you know, are you just happy to understand that, you know, maybe you know, stuff like this didn't exist and it's just it's just an allegory. You know, it's a story. It's not meant to be taken as you know, this is the truth. This is exactly what happened. Everything. I don't know, but it's like when you try and tell me that, you know, fucking Jesus had some fish and some bread and he managed to feed 5,000 people with just a couple of loaves of bread and a few fish, you know, and you expect me to believe that? No, sorry, I'm not doing it. And I don't care that, you know, I'll go to hell or something like that.
Yeah, and then there's the story of the remember, he got like these
to go to hell,
jugs of water or something.
No, you know, in order for me to go to hell, I actually have to believe that, you know, that Jesus did those things and that God does exist. You know, the requirement of me believing in that, you know, unless I do things, I'll go to hell, also requires me to believe these other things. This is why when you get the you know, those that are say like the devil worshippers, but they don't believe in God. It's like, if you believe in the devil and you also have to believe in God, because they're kind of you know, they're kind of both part of the same package. You know, it's like without a God, there is no devil. So, you know, got to decide whether you actually do believe in Old Scratch or you know, and the cloudy beard man, or whether you don't. You know, it's entirely up to you. You know, if you want to be honest, say that instead of believing in Satan, you believe in like the older gods, you know, like the Green Man or whatever, you know, Baphomet, you know, the guy who the devil's basically modelled on.
Yeah.
You know, the god of the hunt, you know, with the big horns and everything. But I really don't agree with the people that push that shit on you. It's like I say, you know, it's one of the things I've always found, and I'll stick to this, the worst ones, the absolute fucking worst ones are the born again. You know, people who have you know, born again Christians are just so much sanctimonious, hypocritical fucksticks. You know, they shouldn't be like this. You know, and a lot of them are they're insane.
They are.
They're fucking insane, man. You know it. You know, like the American style evangelicals and shit like that. You know, they are quite literally fucking insane.
Crazy.
They are. They're completely fucking insane. It's like no. You know, I mean, I seen one and he was going on about, oh God, what was it? It was pretty. Oh, he got a copy of his copy of the King James version. You know, it was an old one. You could see looking at it, it was an old one. You know, it was all, you know, like leather binding and everything like that, and it was all floppy, you know, because it had been well thumbed over the years, you know, and it belonged to his great granddad or something, and you know, it's been passed down from father to son over the years, and now it's his. And he holds it up and he says, "Oh, this version, this is my King James, my family Bible, basically, you know, and we've had this since my great granddad or whatever." And he says, and you know, he says, on my way here to give this talk today, he says, I called into, you know, one of the local bookshops and asked them if they've got a copy of the King James Bible. You know, he says, and I bought it brand new, 10 quid or whatever. He says, and I can look in this one that I bought today and look in this one that's, you know, like 200-300 years old or whatever. He says, and they're both exactly the same. You know, it's like, but yet you look at the science, you look at a science book over the same period and it's different. It's like, yeah, because our understanding of the world around us and, you know, reality changes over time when we figure out that that thing that we've been doing for ages wasn't right, and we figured out actually what it is we're supposed to be doing, or what happened, you know, what happens when you do this. We've figured it out, so that bit gets updated, you know. You know, like that. And then he's like going, oh, gravity. He says, you could tell me that gravity is caused by science, I won't believe it. He goes, you tell me gravity is caused by angels pushing you down to the floor. He says, I don't know, you know, if it says that's what it is in the Bible, I believe it, you know.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think I've seen that video, and it's just the strangest thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, fuck me, man. Yeah, but yeah, it's like that, and they are fucking insane. It's like I say, you know, you get all these religious fucking things. You know, you get you fucking Muslims. You know, oh, we'll blow ourselves up for Allah. We'll run trucks over people for Allah. Well, where is it? Fucking thing. Oh no, I can't be asked to get it. Yeah, we'll run people over in trucks and cars for Allah. We'll stab people in streets for Allah. We'll fucking fly planes into buildings for Allah.
Yeah.
You know,
something I've always wondered, right? How come you didn't get Islamic extremism like 40 or 50 years ago?
That's a good point. You did. The whole reason why there isn't a Shah of Iran anymore is because of Islamic extremism. Why the Ayatollah's in charge and not the Shah. But there's always been Islamic extremism to some extent. It's just that it's kind of got a bit out of hand in, you know, in the past sort of like 3-4 decades. You know, it's like, you know, the war. You can trace a lot. It's like I say, you can trace nearly all the problems that the Middle East has today back to World War I
and the destruction of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, well, it's not particularly that. It's the Ottomans were all, you know, they were all Muslims or something, you know, and they kept each other in line, kind of thing. The main thing comes from the Sykes-Picot Agreement at the end of World War I.
Yeah, didn't that sort of carve up the Middle East and create?
Yeah, it was an agreement. It was an agreement between France and Britain on how the Middle East will be carved up, or basically what was the Ottoman Empire would be carved up between France and Britain when the war ended. And a lot of the problems started, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, you've seen the film Lawrence of Arabia, haven't you? Well, it kind of touches on it in that, you know, it's, they'd basically gone and said, you know, like, oh, if the Arabs help us get rid of the Turks or whatever, you know, we'll sort out, you know, like a complete Arab nation, you know, run by Arabs, for Arabs, without any outside interference. And then once the war was over, they just went like, fuck that. You know, a lot of the problems that we're getting today can be done that, because it's like I said, they kind of divided the you know, the whole Middle East up into areas that were not particularly suitable for the way that they live their lives there. You know, I mean, you get all that. I mean, there weren't much trouble, like, you know, we'd have, you know, like Palestine and stuff like that used to be part of the British Empire. And you know, the people that, you know, the Arabs and stuff that live there, they didn't particularly like the British, but, you know, they just got on with it. And if any trouble kicked off, you know, they'd be straight in there and put it down, kind of thing. It's one of the reasons why they said there that they shouldn't have really got rid of Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah, that was a bad.
He was one of the few people. He was one of the kind of few people in the Middle East that could actually hold the the different sorts of tribes in line.
Well, he did. I mean, the guy was an evil bastard, and he killed a lot of innocent people. But he did, as you say, Cal. He kept all the tribes in line, and effectively, it was the toppling of Saddam Hussein that resulted in the power vacuum that has eventually resulted in the rise of ISIS. Yeah.
It's like they said there. It's because a lot of the Arab stuff it's more tribal than countries. I mean, you got places like like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, all places like that, and they're all ruled. They're all ruled and kept in line. Because like Saudi Arabia, you've got the king. Who's actually he's the guy that was played by Alec Guinness in Lawrence of Arabia. He's a direct descendant of that guy. You got like was it Yemen and all stuff like that. They're all kept in line by the power structure they've got there. And it's like they said there, you had the same with Libya. It's people fucking hated Colonel Gaddafi, but he kept everybody in line, and things like that. But as soon as you remove that, you remove that power structure they've got, it's you take out the figurehead, like Saddam Hussein or Colonel Gaddafi, people like that. You take that, and then the support structure underneath them crumbles away.
Yeah, it laid in wake for all the extremists to move in, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, they did if you look at the fall of the Soviet Union, the same thing happened. I mean, like Romania, for decades it was ruled over by Nicolae Ceausescu and his family, and they were absolute fucking cunts to the people that lived in Romania. So when the Romanian Revolution happened, guess what happened to Nicolae Ceausescu?
Got killed.
Him and his entire family got took out into a field and shot live on TV.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that was one of the first things I can remember as well. Like seeing violence and gore on the news was that. It was they didn't show you them actually getting shot, but it showed you them leading them out, and then it showed you dead bodies of him, his wife, and his 2 children, just laid in this, like I don't know, like a field or a car park or something where they just took them out and shot them. It's basically, here you go, this is what you get for being a cunt, blam, dead. And they did that, and then as soon as they did that, the whole communist structure in Romania crumbled away because Ceausescu wasn't there anymore to keep everybody, to keep all these things where like, you do this for me, I'll do this for you kind of thing. That kind of structure, which is what it was. That just vanished because Ceausescu wasn't there anymore to give the generals and the higher ups in the Romanian Communist Party the favours that they were looking for. So it just became a every man for himself sort of thing. And it is Romania. They stopped being communists and they went back to they went and started getting on the long road, and Romania is doing quite well today. And people in Romania don't want to be communists anymore. So
Yeah.
I mean, imagine what had happened. Yeah, I mean, imagine what had happened to North Korea.
I was just going to ask that question.
If to North Korea, it's like they've got it's they had Kim Il Sung started it off, and then they had Kim Jong Il was the son of Kim Il Sung, and he took over, and then after he's died, obviously his son Kim Jong Un's took over, and it's all a cult of personality around him, and the entire country, Kim. When he says jump, everybody in the country asks how high. So if you removed him, the country would be
curious as to what would happen if Kim Jong Un was removed, if for whatever reason he was dead. I am very curious as to what would happen.
Yeah, it would be there'd be a shit.
The military would take over.
It wouldn't surprise me. But it's like with the again with the Soviet Union. Stalin was in charge, and Stalin was a complete cunt, and it was quite literally, it wasn't, the guy in charge of the Soviet Union is Joseph Stalin. It was a case of the Soviet Union is Joseph Stalin. It's like he says something, it gets fucking done, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah, but
when he died,
ways,
yeah.
although, yeah, the guy was a bastard. If it hadn't been for the way he ran Russia at the time, then they wouldn't have beaten back the Nazis.
Oh no, that's it's you've got that arse backwards. The reason why they failed so badly against the Nazis to start with was because of all the time that Stalin had spent killing off all the people that knew what they were doing and replacing them with his mates.
Ah, right.
And then it was only sort of, you know, when things were starting to look bad, that they kind of, you know, turned it around. It was just through sheer, you know, we've got to get rid of these cunts sort of thing. They actually managed to go through and you know, beat the Germans back and send them running, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was at the cost of like 12 million lives, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when Stalin died, they had a bit of a problem because it's like they'd spent probably 20, 30 years with Stalin in charge, and it's like literally, you know, there's pictures of him everywhere and statues of him, and everybody believed he was completely incredible and whatnot. And it came as a big shock when the guy who eventually took over, Nikita Khrushchev, gave the speech at the, you know, the meeting of the Soviet Communist Party, where he basically denounced him and everything that he'd ever done, and told the absolute truth about what Stalin had done. You know, about getting people killed for basically. I mean, everybody was absolutely fucking terrified of Stalin.
Yeah.
It wasn't a case of, you know, he's a strong leader. It was a case of, you know, if I, you know, like, I chuck this tab end up floor in the street, is Stalin going to see it? You know, even though you're, you know, in some fucking nowhere place somewhere in back arse end of Russia, you know, you drop a tab end up floor and you're worrying whether Stalin will see it or not. It's like, no, he's not going to fucking see it, but you're terrified of him if he does. You know, that's what it was. And it's like they said there, you know, they had to begin, you know, like, they called it, you know, de-Stalinization, you know, getting rid of a lot of the fucking policies he put in place that were just there basically to make people terrified of him. You know, it's you know, Uncle fucking Joseph can see you no matter what you're doing. You know, like the thing there, you know, ceiling cat is watching you masturbate. You know, they had to get rid of that thought out of people's heads. And it's the same in North Korea. You get people who've gone, you know, basically who've escaped North Korea and they've gone to live in either South Korea or Japan or somewhere like that. And I mean, there was some. I think it was on BBC, and they did like an interview with them, and it's like they had this young woman and a mum didn't speak English, but the young woman did. And the young woman said there, you know, it's like she's still, you know, her mum still goes to bed at night thinking that, you know, Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un or whoever can hear what they're thinking and knows what they're dreaming about and things like that. You know, and they think, you know, if I just think wrong once, you know, I'm going to get arrested and taken away, you know, sort of thing. And even though they're not living in the same country anymore, you know, they're still there.
That pull is still there.
Yeah, they still think stuff like that. I mean, it's like if you watch V. I mean, he lives in Romania. You know, he's Romanian, and he says there a lot of the old people there, they used to think like that about Ceausescu. You know, it's like they'd say, you know, it's Ceausescu who knows what you're thinking. He knows what, you know, if you say something bad about him, he knows about it. You know, and things like that. And it's fear. That's all it is.
Fear
it's just
is the greatest weapon.
Yeah, it's just a constant fear. I mean, it's like they said there, you know, the people that used to live in East Germany say that
because they know.
Yeah, it's when you're scared of something, you don't think clearly. That's the thing. So if you're constantly scared of you know, fucking Stalin or whatever, hearing what you're thinking, you know, you start second guessing yourself all the time, and you just, you know, you don't think clearly and stuff like that. But it's like I said there, you know, it's people that lived in East Germany said that, you know, over the wall they could hear the people in West Germany, you know, like they could hear people laughing and stuff like that. But you never heard anybody laugh in East Germany, you know, because if you were heard laughing and somebody said, "Oh, what you laughing at?" and you say, "Oh, I've just heard this funny joke," like, "Oh, tell us what this joke is," you know, and it was, you know, say it was an edgy joke or something like that. the East German secret police, Stasi, there was a better than average chance that they'd get to hear from it, because they used to have informants everywhere. You know, it's like I say, and even if the person you were telling the joke to, you know, wasn't, you know, an informer for them, you'd be guaranteed there'd be somebody somewhere earwigging that was. And, you know, if you said anything that was, you know, not particularly flattering about the government or the country or whatever, or even if you just said, you know, oh, I can hear them, you know, in Berlin or whatever, just over the wall, I can hear them laughing, I wonder what they're laughing at. You know, that'd be enough to get you locked up. You know, stuff like that. And it says there, that's one of the first things to do, is get rid of humour. Because obviously if you can't laugh at something, then you're scared of it.
Yeah.
You know, if they can make you scared of it, then that's it. They're inside your head. And it's one of the things, like I said there, where, you know, it's like I was on about earlier, YouTube. There's no funny videos on YouTube anymore because people daren't say things, you know, because they make you, you know, you can get locked up for saying certain things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, yeah, words of violence. No, they're not. You know, words aren't violence. Nobody gets hurt. It's like you might get your feelings hurt, but, you know, fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, you get
we're sort of going down a route now where having an opinion is considered to be bad, especially if that opinion goes against other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically, unless you're, you know, unless the opinion is homogenous, you know, unless everybody thinks the same.
Yeah. I know it's going back a bit in the conversation here, but I still find it utterly amusing and kind of sad and sort of sickening to a certain degree as well that the UN let Anita Zakenzian basically show up there and bitch for an hour about how unfair it was that people didn't agree with her.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so.
I think is the thing about that though. It's like her and fucking Zoe Quinn went there, and you know they had a good moan about how it weren't fair that people, you know, that people said nasty things about them, and it really hurt their fifis, and you know, all stuff like that. And then, you know, the meeting finished, and there was a round of applause. And then they found out that this document that they'd prepared, that, you know, supposedly had all this evidence to back up everything they said. When they found out that that document was full of bullshit, and a lot of it, you know, like had links to people's personal computers, you know, stuff like that. You know, the links didn't actually work and stuff. They took that down, and then they just sort of forgot about it. It's just one of those things like, yeah, that didn't happen. You know, yeah, that didn't happen. Let's talk about something else. Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah, that's basically what they've done with it, because I think they thought it would make them seem woke to have this person there. It's one of those things where it's literally the people that are at the UN had never heard of her or Zoe Quinn until they came into the building and introduced themselves. They've never fucking heard of her. But they'd heard about this whole feminism thing. And they wanted somebody to come and give a talk on.
They wanted brownie points.
Yeah, they thought it'd make them look cool, and they wanted somebody to come in and give them a talk on what it was and everything like that. And they just obviously said to like researchers, you know, the members are wanting somebody, you know, from this feminist thing or whatever to come in, you know, maybe get a couple of them. So we've got a couple of different speakers. Get them to come in, give us a talk about what's going off and all that, and find out what the fucking fuss is about, because we keep hearing about it, but we don't properly know what it is. And then obviously they've come and done the talk, and they're like, oh fucking hell, that sounds bad, you know, Jesus. And then they've actually sat and realised, like, hang on a minute, she's complaining that people are just calling her names, and you know, she's having an opinion, and people are disagreeing with her, and she doesn't like it, you know, and it's like, well, maybe this document they've prepared will shed a bit more light on it, you know. It's obviously it's got all the talking, but what the fuck's this crap, you know? It's like that. It's like literally, it was the equivalent of having a fucking TEDx talk in the UN.
Yeah.
A lot of shit goes off in the UN that's fucking ridiculous. The same as what goes off in the European Parliament and everything. You know, they have fucking stupid and ridiculous discussions, like, you know, fucking the length of candle wicks and stuff like. I mean, that was it. Yeah, that was a discussion that was going off that got priority over something more important. I think it was something about the, you know, like the old Article 13 thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It was. And there should have been more debate about that, but instead they decided to have a debate about standardising the length of candle wicks throughout the EU or something like that. And you know, it's all bollocks like that. You know, it's just that kind of stuff. But it's like I say, as soon as Anita and Zoe went home, and you know they're there with you know shit-eating grins on the faces, thinking, we've shown them, and it's like, you know, that was it. They've never been asked back to do any more talks, have they? So
no, was that in regards to the EU want to let's see here. Something about here we are. Let's see. States have voted to regulate. EU states have voted to regulate candles based on their standards. Shops might have to put advent calendars away. New regulation will see the popular decorative feature being dictated by flame height, stability, and supportive structure.
Yes, that was the one. Yes.
Yeah, it's 2015.
Yeah. They had what we call it, debates about shit like that. You know, this is all irrelevant crap. It's like, yeah, you don't really need to have a debate in Parliament about that. You could just get, you know, like somebody from, you know, get somebody from health and safety, get somebody that knows a lot about fire and stuff. Get them to sit and have a chat, decide what's best, and then so these are our findings. You know, there's no need to have a debate about it in fucking Parliament, for God's sake. But yeah, you know, it's all that. You know, it's like I said, this is the thing. It's you know, you can see it. Like I said, you can see it with happening with YouTube. You know, people aren't allowed to make jokes on YouTube anymore. You know, you can't make jokes. You can't you know, take piss out of people. Comedy programs that are on TV aren't funny anymore because you know, you're not allowed to say anything that can be construed as anything anybody can get offended about. So this is why most of your modern programs, you know, comedy programs, are all like you know, pop culture references and stuff like that. Because it's like, you know, do you remember watching fucking... Oh, do you remember watching Friends? Yeah, I remember watching Friends. Audience laughs. Oh, do you remember watching, you know, fucking... I don't know. Hollyoaks? Oh, yeah, that character there. Yeah, I quite like that character. Audience laughs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what was wrong. I watched, what was it? I watched when they said, we're doing a new series, Danger Mouse. And I was like, nice one. And I watched a couple of episodes of it, and it was like, you might as well just call it Pop Culture Mouse, because that's all they're doing. Just pop culture references, that's all. There was nothing interesting or funny about it like there used to be. Yeah, and everything else is going the same way, and people being sort of conditioned not to find things funny. You know, I don't know. It's like, you know, you knock you make people scared. You know, it's like what they call her on YouTube Watch, the Ask a Mortician. Yeah, and she's there. You know, like one of the things she wants to do is to try and get people not to be scared of death and the stuff that surrounds it, because every single one of us is going to die one day. And if you spend your entire living life scared of your death, you know, you're not going to be... It's not going to make for a conducive, you know, life.
No.
You know, you've got your life, and, you know, whatever you think happens after you're dead, you know, more power to you. Let's find out whether you're right or not. You know, or you spend you know, live to that age 96, and you finally get on the day that you die, you finally get to find out whether all that time spent on your knees in church groveling was worth it or not. You know, I look at it like that, you know, whatever, fucking dicks. Yeah, it's like that, you know, people scared of death. You know, what else people scared? People scared of, you know, going out of the house because you might get stabbed. Or if you've got kids, then potentially everybody around you could be a paedophile. You've got women scared of associating with men because, you know, they might get raped. You know, you've got, you know, you can't, you know, people scared of telling jokes or having a bit of a, you know, telling edgy joke. Well, telling any jokes, not just edgy jokes, any jokes, because somebody might get offended by it. You know, you can't say this, that, or whatever. You know, in case somebody says that, in case somebody misconstrues.
Well, I mean, the whole idea, you know, people
being racist or whatever. You know, it is. You know, where's it going to end? You know, it's like all the humor and everything's going out of life, and they're trying to replace it with as much stuff to be scared of as possible. You know, and oh, don't eat this sort of food. It's, don't eat genetically modified food because it's evil and it'll kill you and you'll get cancer. No, you won't. But they don't want you to know that. And it's all stuff like that. You can only eat this. You can only drink that. You can only wear these sorts of clothes. You can only think this. You can only say this. You can only, and it's all stuff like that. And it's just literally stuff just backing up, bit by bit, up and up and up until what's left?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, you're just a drone. It's like I say, you're just a drone. You get up, you go to work, you come home, and then you reproduce to make sure that there's more drones for the next generation.
Yeah.
You can't think you can't buy this, that, or whatever because it's not good for you, or it's dangerous, or it's irresponsible. You can't have a petrol car. You can't have a car anymore, the fast car anymore. Why? Because it's dangerous. You might kill somebody. You can't have petrol diesel car. Why? Oh well, it causes environmental damage. Can't have that. Oh, I'll have a fast electric car then. Well, you can't have a fast electric car either because it's dangerous. You might kill somebody. And it's just stuff like that. It's little by little things building up over time.
So yeah, I mean the idea of people's freedom of speech is, but I think certainly a lot of people, sort of I know, a huge majority of people think, oh, I'm not going to spend so much time worrying about people's feelings. If I've got something to say, I'll say it. I mean, it's not the same me saying something in public where someone might hear me and be offended. Well, I mean, it's not the same as going up to someone and saying something deliberately to offend them personally.
Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference between going out of your way deliberately to offend somebody or to attack them. Yeah. And then again, it's just words. It's like I said, nobody ever died from being, nobody ever died from somebody saying you're ugly.
No. I know you did by this particular person, Carl, but remember to me one of your older videos you did about, Riley J. Dennis.
Fucking hell. What about him?
The one I think you did like a response thing where he was saying, he was talking about the thing supposedly about being called for an end to violence.
I don't remember.
The thing where he was, the thing I think something happened in Germany where people were chanting, was it Jews or you will not replace us?
Yeah, that was the thing in Charleston.
Yeah,
that was the thing in Charleston in America where they were going, you will not replace us, you will not replace us. But somehow people decided that they were saying Jews will not replace us. And it's like, no, that's not what they were saying. But yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was going on about why people shouldn't do or say things that could offend other people.
Oh,
and making comparisons to like people going deliberately physically attacking someone.
Yeah. There's nobody. I can guarantee you 100% nobody has ever died from somebody walking up to them and saying, "God, you're ugly."
No.
Literally, and when I'm saying died, I'm meaning somebody walked up to you in the street and goes, "God, you're ugly," or "God, you're fat," or "God, you stink," and then you drop dead immediately, or you suddenly get a black eye or something. Nobody has ever died from that. Nobody's ever received any kind of injury whatsoever from being insulted. Because there's two things you can do. When you're insulted, you can do one of two things. You can either insult them back, or you can just go, fuck you, and just get on with your life.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that's required. But no, what it is now a third option where somebody insults you or says something in any way offensive or derogatory about you, and you scream and you scream and you scream just like you did when you were fucking 2. You get down on that fucking floor in the supermarket and you roll about and you scream until mummy buys you some sweets. And that's all it fucking is. It's just that fucking little annoying bastard that you see in every supermarket in the fucking country, a little fucking spoilt cunt rolling about on the street or the floor, screaming because mammy won't buy him some Smarties. Yeah, and what happens? Right, back when I was young, if you did that when you were a kid, you got a fucking crack and got told to shut up. Yeah, you might get some sweeties if you're good after that point. Probably won't, but you never know. What they do now, I'll just stand there and let him act it out. And then we'll buy him some sweeties anyway. And we'll buy him a new toy. And we'll take him to McDonald's. No. You get nothing. You behave like that, you get nothing. Yeah. You just either have a go back or get on with your life. You know, that's your options. Option, you know, there's A or B. There's no option C. Option C doesn't exist. Even though you've made it exist, it doesn't exist. Option C is just showing how pathetic you are. That's all it is.
Option D is you wander around with your phone clutched in your hand, ignoring your children while they run around the store throwing clothes about.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, but parents do that everywhere. In toy shops and stuff that I've worked in, yeah. Parents come in and they see a friend with their kids or something, or they get into a conversation with a member of staff at the door, and well, they let their kids roam free and just chuck stock around.
Yeah.
Normally, the response when you say, you know, can you control your kid, please? Oh, he's only having fun.
Oh, he's only having fun. Yeah, but he's already racked up 200 quid worth of damage. So, are you going to get your checkbook out?
We actually had to say that to one parent. Well, not me personally, but a few months ago, we had some little kid bloody swinging around on one of the big circular clothes rails that we have, and the mother was just basically ignoring him because she was too busy bloody on a phone. And so one of the security guards went up to her and just said, just so you know, your kid's, doing all that, and she was like, oh, he's all right, leave him, he's only having fun, blah, blah, blah. And the security guy was like, oh, well, fair enough, love, fair enough. Just to let you know, if he destroys that particular display there, that's at least 500 quid's worth of damage, and you will be paying for it. At which point she sort of shoved a phone in her pocket and started being a mother, All you had to do was basically tell her you'd have to pay a 500 quid fine.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like that way. He said that that could have gone one or two ways. Either the correct way, basically being a mother and thingy, or going the other way and becoming Karen.
No, yes.
My little boy would never do anything like that. It's your problem if he does that. You're meant to look after him.
I love Karen's story. There's so many
I
good
want to
ones.
speak to your manager. Fuck off. Here's my manager, and then you just give her a big fucking punching face.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Yeah. But that's the thing, though. That's one of the things there that's I don't understand why people need. I mean, obviously smartphones have internet on them. Yeah, whatever. I don't understand why you need that. I still don't to this day understand why you need the internet on your phone to, fucking social media and shit. What are you taking a photo of?
My computer screen.
I was going to say, I thought you went like that, and then you went like that. I thought, oh god, here comes a dick pic.
No, I'm taking a picture.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand that. I mean, it's like you get the whole kind of Instagram influencers or whatever they are, and they're just literally people who spend all day on the phone. Taking a photograph of me drinking a bottle of water, but I'm not just drinking a bottle of water, just like that. I'm splashing it over my face to make it look more interesting.
God, some of the things I've heard over the last 2 years, because of the influence of smartphones. Like there was some woman on the bus, for example, when I was on my way to work, and she was sat maybe 2 rows in front of me with a friend, and she spent the full 20 minutes on the bus moaning and complaining about somebody that she knew, and this person had put a picture on Facebook, and that picture had got 3 more likes than a picture she put up on Facebook. I was like, are you serious? That's the most important thing in your life right now. The fact that somebody got 3 more likes than you did.
Yeah, there's a really good video in that she props up in, you know, like fail compilations. There's a lass and she's doing a live stream from, it looks like a you know, like a beachfront bar or something like that. And she's sat, and you know, it's obviously like on a webcam, and she's there wittering away, and you know, it's like I can't even understand what she's fucking saying because it just sounds like fucking noise to me. And this old guy, you see him get up, you know, he gets up in the background, and he like goes to the bar or something like that, takes his glass back to the bar or whatever, and obviously orders another drink, and then he turns to, I don't know, go to the toilet or whatever, and then just as he's walking past her, he leans down and he goes, "Excuse me, love, you're really not that interesting," you know, and then just walks away. And it's like, it's just like that. It's like, seriously, you know, when you look at the whole like Instagram influencers or social influencers or whatever they are, and it's just literally all they're doing is mundane everyday things, but they try and make it look as interesting and as possible. You know, it's like I say, you know, I'm drinking a glass of water or whatever, but you know, it's like it's spilling down my face, you know, and you can imagine that running down my face as your cum or something, you know, and then you get like pictures of them doing, I don't know, like fucking gardening or something, but for some reason you can see the tits.
Yeah.
You know, cleavage action going off there, or you know, like they'll take a picture of themselves, you know, like it's like, you know, it's like, oh, here I am at, you know, here I am at you know, like fucking, I don't know, Blackpool Tower, but it's not a picture of this, it's a picture like this. You know, here I am at Blackpool Tower, you know, oh no, you know, whatever, and it's like, what, why do you need to do?
Reminds me, I mean, I don't know if it's as rampant now, but not too long ago there was this whole thing on Twitch where you had like loads of young pretty women playing basic games while wearing lingerie.
Booby streamers.
Yeah,
they got rid of that because it's like they said there, Twitch is for gaming, not wanking. If you want to wank, go on, you know, like fucking YouPorn or Pornhub or whatever. Yeah. Or there was the bizarre thing at one point of getting women to do star jumps. That was one I saw where you know, like you'd pay them, like, I don't know, tip them, I don't know whether it was like cash or like credits or whatever it was, and you know, they do star jumps for you so you could see the tits wobbling, you know, and it's like right, okay, you know, that's gone by the by now. Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like, well, one of the reasons it's like sex sells. We all know that, and it don't matter how many fat, ugly, fucking purple, pink-haired, fucking lesbian, transgender, unicorn, demisexual girl boys or whatever, you know, moan about it. People are always going to pay money for, you know, for sexual reasons. You know, it's nice to see an attractive, you know, it's nice to see an attractive lass. You know, it's nice to see tits, you know, whatever. People still like porn. You know, I mean, this is a weird thing, although that they're like, you know, beach body ready. Anybody is ready. It's like, yeah, and I bet you when you fucking sat playing with yourself, you know, you're not sat watching two fucking land whales fucking frottering against each other, are you? No. You're watching some muscly bloke with a fucking 18-inch cock shagging some bird that just looks like a fucking broomstick with tits glued to it. That's what you want. You fucking get. Yeah,
right, lads, I have to head off.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, it
is getting late, and I do have work tomorrow.
Well, it's nearly 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. Should we call it there then?
Yeah, might as well.
Well, it's been great to talk to you guys. I'll say thanks for any views that we've had. Thanks to my guests, God Pikachu and 000firestorm. We'll be back soon.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Okay.
Always a pleasure to speak to you both.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.